Chapter 2141 Unstoppable Part 2. Quick, use everything you have. Stop hiding your trump card and use it. Quick, use battle formation. Ling Song yelled crazily. The eyes of the great emperors turned red. No one held back as they used all of their trump cards. The 10 great emperors formed 2 battle formations in order to have a greater fighting power. Boom! As they used their trump cards, their attacks became significantly stronger. They were much stronger in many aspects, such as speed. Jian Wushuang was at the center of all the great emperors. He frowned slightly when he saw the attacks. I should not look down on great emperors, especially when they group up together. Jian Wushuang thought coldly. Jian Wushuang could not defend all of these renewed attacks using sword principle Xian Luo. Since I cannot defend it, I shall not defend it at all. The pressure on Jian Wushuang erupted as his aura grew again. The 5-gem armor he was wearing started to shine brightly as his divine power surged. His body took a step forward, but he did not attempt to block the attacks. At last, boom, 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 boom. The waves of attacks collided with his body. After the collision, Jian Wushuang shook and took a few steps back before he charged forwards again. What? This self-defense mechanism. The 15 great emperors were stunned. Jian Wushuang appeared in front of the few great emperors. The middle-aged man was the leader in one of the battle formations of incredible power. Break! Jian Wushuang roared as his blood mountain sword turned into a blood red, as though it was a droplet of fresh blood, and stabbed towards the formation. Sword principle Xian Luo, sanguis extremis style. Humph! The well-built, middle-aged man grunted as energy was channeled from the great emperors within the formation. The middle-aged man slapped towards the blade. Boom! A colossal palm appeared out of nowhere. This palm crashed head-on with the sword. Initially, it had looked like the 2 powers would be able to go head-to-head. However, a wave of power erupted from the blade as the palm exploded. What remained, or the blade, had continued the assault. Boom! Everyone, including the well-built middle-aged man, backed off quickly. The battle formation broke into pieces. How terrifying! I personally commanded the battle formation we formed. The fighting power of the formation was definitely at the peak of a stage 2 great emperor. However, he could destroy the formation with one attack. Without a doubt, his fighting power has reached the power level of a stage 3 great emperor. He is comparable to the 3 emperors that lead our world. The middle-aged man sighed. Jian Wushuang had the momentum as he used one sword skill to destroy a battle formation. He was about to attack the middle-aged man once again when he heard sonic booms behind him. Even though the aura of the attacks behind him were not powerful, Jian Wushuang was interested. He saw 6 streaks of golden light flying straight for his head. Behind the 6 streaks of light was a young man with purple hair. Hongjun Golden Sword. Jian Wushuang smirked. The young man in purple hair was Zi Qin, and he had fought Jian Wushuang before. The Hongjun Golden Swords he wielded were the legitimate ones. The ones Jian Wushuang was wielding were an imitation of the real ones, hence the power was different. Of course, that was before. Now, I have great use for the Hongjun Golden Swords you wield. Hence, you shall be second. Jian Wushuang looked at his own 7 golden streaks of light before dashing towards the other 6. 7 against 6, the swords collided head-on. Even though the 7 Hongjun golden swords Jian Wushuang was wielding were replicas, it still managed to display power equal to the real ones. Clang! 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 The 6 legitimate Hongjun golden swords flew back without a fight. On the other hand, The 7 replica Hongjun golden swords that Jian Wushuang was wielding continued to attack Zichun. What? Zichun was shocked. He could not imagine how his legitimate Hongjun golden swords could lose to the replica Hongjun golden swords that Jian Wushuang had. He wanted to escape when he saw the Hongjun golden swords flying towards him. However, he was too late. 7 collisions could be heard. The 7 Hongjun golden swords each had power levels near that of a Stage 2 Great Emperor. One was enough to kill Zichun, much less 7 of them. Zichun had only managed to survive the first 2 hits. The 3rd sword penetrated his head, while the remaining destroyed his divine body. Within an instant, another great emperor was dead. Jian Wushuang collected the remaining treasures and Qian Kuan ring. The second one. Jian Wushuang scanned his surroundings with a bloodthirsty smile. To the great emperors around, this smile looked like a devil's smile. This smile made them feel fear from the bottom of their hearts. They gave their all and tried their best to kill Jian Wushuang. They hoped they could at least hold their ground against this monster. But Jian Wushuang was far too powerful. The fighting power of a Stage 3 Great Emperor was far greater than that of anyone in the area. If Jian Wushuang simply had the fighting power of a normal Stage 3 Great Emperor like Demon King Qinyu, they could fight head-on without fear. However, Jian Wushuang not only had the fighting power of a Stage 3 Great Emperor, but also a disgustingly powerful self-defense mechanism. He was like a maniac who did not care if he got injured. He only went on the offense. This method of fighting would put his life at risk, but he could be killed by this group of great emperors. On the other hand, Jian Wushuang could kill them easily. He was much scarier than a leader from the 3 emperors' world. He had the fighting power, he had good defense, and he did not care about his own injuries. No matter how strong their leaders were, they could not afford to neglect the attacks of a group of enemies. Unlike Jian Wushuang, who did not care at all, he had been invincible since the start of the battle. How to deal with such a person? He himself had suppressed every single great emperor on the battlefield. He had fought 16 great emperors. With his terrifying fighting power, he made the remaining great emperors tremble in fear. Chapter 2142 Seeking Reinforcements Boom. Jian Wushuang was like a devil, and he found the gap among the various great emperors easily. He dashed in front of a young man in purple armor. Sword light with incredible power stormed down upon the young man. The young man tried to deflect the attacks, but was too slow. All he could do was watch the sword light penetrate his armor and mercilessly smash his divine body. He died instantly. The third one. Jian Wushuang looked stern with a strong killing intent. All the great emperors turned pale when they saw yet another of their comrades dead. They wanted to cooperate and kill Jian Wushuang. However, 3 of them had died before they could even harm him. Seek reinforcements. There is nothing we can do to stop him. If this continues, everyone here will die. We cannot stop him unless more peak chaotic realm experts join us or the 3 leaders come down personally to stop him. He is disgustingly powerful. Roars reverberated around this battlefield. Within the short time that they exchanged blows, the great emperors were intimidated. Among the great emperors, Ling Zongtu was studying the situation. While they were fighting, Jian Wushuang, Abysmal Saint Master, Jian Yi, and King Qinxing were still killing experts. They were going at such a fast pace that at least 1,000 of them died. There were no remaining almighties around the 3 statues. Hence, they turned their focus to the remains of the imperial palace. If the killing continued, every single cultivator within the imperial palace would be dead. Lord, help us quickly. Ling Zong frowned as he urged the leaders. The massacre continued within the imperial palace. In the mysterious void in the 3 emperors' world, four figures gathered together. They were Kaiser Blood, Lord Fun, Demon King Chenyu, and Lung Rushue. When the imperial palace was attacked, they had received the news immediately. This Jian Wushuang. He was lucky he managed to escape the time. Now he dares to attack us in the imperial palace again. Demon King Chun, you clenched his fist as he was burning with rage. Kaiser Blood, who was covered in a blood-red cloak, looked cold. The previous failures, especially the battle at the Heaven Repairing Palace, allowed the Sanctuary Alliance to have 5 more great emperors while we lost 3 of our own. Our advantage in numbers is no longer here. Now, the Eternal Chaotic World Cent has a small team of experts to ambush the Imperial Palace and kill our experts. If they were successful in doing so and escaped unharmed, we would be at a disadvantage. We cannot allow this to happen. Immediately order experts to reinforce. Kaiser Blood ordered immediately. Demon King Chenyu stood up and said, I have already asked Basu to rush over as fast as he can. He can hold Jian Wushuang there for a while. I will go down personally. I will not let that brat escape again. Demon King Chun, you disappeared from the mysterious void and headed for the Imperial Palace. Kaiser Blood looked at where Demon King Chenyu was and knitted his eyebrows. Demon King Chun, you had already sworn to kill Jian Wushuang many times and to cause great damage to the lineup of the Eternal Chaotic World. What were the results? He had failed every single time and returned defeated. Kaiser Blood started questioning his abilities. Even though he did not stop Demon King Chenyu, he turned to Lord Fun and said, Lord Fun, you will reinforce Demon King Chun, you personally. Bring along experts from the Holocaust sect as well. I have received news that Jian Wushuang and his team have already killed many of our experts. We cannot allow that group to escape unharmed. We will be at a severe disadvantage if that happens. Understood. I will go there as fast as I can. He and Lung Rushue disappeared from the palace. Kaiser Blood was the only person left. He sat there in a gloomy mood. His finger was hitting the chair lightly. What was he thinking about? Within the Imperial Palace, the massacre continued. There were 9 great emperors. Abysmal Saint Master, Jian Yi, Underworld God, King Qin Shing, Black Dragon Emperor, Emperor God Tian Ling, and Lei Yuan who were responsible for it. The entire Imperial Palace was in a storm. The great emperors who were on guard within the palace was stopped by Jian Wushuang alone and could do nothing to help the others. Most importantly, there had been 16 to begin with. Now, only 13 were left. More than half of the 13 great emperors had been injured by Jian Wushuang. Even though Jian Wushuang was alone, he had completely suppressed these great emperors. Right when he was about to kill the 4th great emperor, boom! In the distance, a figure that radiated a tremendous aura was coming towards the battlefield at a fast speed. This aura was fixed on Jian Wushuang. Without a doubt, the figure had come here for Jian Wushuang. The remaining 13 great emperors who were in the battle too looked up at the figure. They soon recognized who the figure was. It's him. Jian Wushuang was surprised. Jian Wushuang recognized the person. Chapter 2143 meeting Basu again. It was an arrogant young man with a hooked nose. His aura could be sensed from afar. The aura was not only way more terrifying than other great emperors, but it also had a strong bloodline aura as well. Jian Wushuang was familiar with this bloodline aura. It was the Sky-Devouring Clan bloodline. It was the Sky-Swallowing Clan's clan leader, Basu. The Sky-Swallowing Clan had intended to exterminate the Black Dragon Clan before their plans were discovered by Jian Wushuang. They themselves had been exterminated by Jian Wushuang's alliance with the other 3 top clans. But they had only destroyed the Sky-Swallowing Clan's base, unable to locate and take down most of the experts who had escaped. The sky-swallowing clan experts vanished soon after and were not to be seen within special tribe domains. But now, Jian Wushuang faced Ba Su once again. Jian Wushuang. An uncontainable rage could be felt from Ba Su's voice. Ba Su's eagle eyes were dead on Jian Wushuang. There was still a certain gap between the two of them, but Ba Su's murderous intent had already formed into a deadly storm, heading straight for Jian Wushuang. There was so much resentment against Jian Wushuang. The demise of the sky-swallowing clan and its experts was all Jian Wushuang's doing. Jian Wushuang, you must die. A powerful roar resonated across the heavens. As he approached Jian Wushuang, Ba Su started to leave residual shadows across the void. The residual shadows looked identical to the real person, with no way of telling which one was fake. Xiao, with a strange beam of light, Ba Su had already appeared beside Jian Wushuang. Golden claws landed on him like lightning. This speed, Jian Wushuang could not help but be surprised. Jian Wushuang was already at third stage Great Emperor fighting powers and showed no fear against 16 Great Emperors fighting against him at the same time. But the speed Ba Su demonstrated shocked even him, which said much about Ba Su's improvement. Although shocked, Jian Wushuang showed no delay in his reaction. As the golden streak of light could be seen, he broke it with one sword move. Sword Principal Xian Luo, turn monstrous at one thought. It was a fast sword move as well. Dang! As the sword light clashed directly with the golden flowing light, a metallic sound was heard. A terrifying power emerged as well. Jian Wushuang was taken aback uncontrollably by the power. Ba Su retreated as well. As both of them retreated, the battle took a short respite. The remaining 13 Great Emperors surrounding Jian Wushuang stopped their movements as well. Xiao, Jian Wushuang quickly stopped and looked towards Ba Su. His gaze turned solemn. Third stage. Jian Wushuang was sure of how powerful he was. But Ba Su's claws went head-on with him and matched him in terms of power. Undoubtedly, Ba Su was already at third stage. Haha, bet you didn't see this coming, Jian Wushuang? Ba Su, now positioned at a void far away, started grinning hideously. He looked towards Jian Wushuang with a sense of achievement. You're not the only one blessed with opportunities. I was able to as well. Thanks to you, my clan's lair was left destroyed, and my experts homeless. Without a choice, we had to escape the special tribe's domain. Exactly because of this, I found motivation for me to improve. I paid a high price to enter the Three Emperors' world site of opportunity. Luckily for me, I managed to understand a bit of the rules of order. Now, I am a true third stage Great Emperor. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang's pupils shrank. He knew that with Ba Su's abilities, it would not be possible for him to master rules of order in such a short period of time. But if he had treasures and opportunities to assist him, it would be different. After all, the most useful things for cultivators were opportunities. Ba Su obviously had hit the jackpot with that one. In the surrounding void, the 13 Great Emperors were all gleaming in delight upon hearing Ba Su's words, their leader Lingzong included. They did not know who Ba Su was or where he had come from, but now they knew. Ba Su was obviously on their side, with third stage powers. That was enough to go against their three leaders. Sir, we'll leave Jian Wushuang to you. Lingzong said. No problem. Ba Su nodded. Lingzong glanced upon the other Great Emperors. Let's go. With that, the 13 Great Emperors left. They had no intention to continue their fight against Jian Wushuang, as they all knew that even if they were to strike Jian Wushuang, they could never kill him. Furthermore, they had more important work to do. They needed to think of a way to block the frenzied 7 Great Emperors. If not, all the cultivators within the imperial city would be massacred. seeing the 13 great emperors escaping. Jian Wushuang did not stop them. Soon, in the large void, only Jian Wushuang and Ba Su remained. Both of their auras were extremely frightening. Jian Wushuang, do you know the price I paid to enter 3 emperors' world's land of opportunity? Ba Su's bloodshot eyes glared at Jian Wushuang. What? Jian Wushuang asked. My freedom. Not for 10,000 years, not 100,000 years, but forever. I have to listen to the 3 emperors' world's leaders for the rest of my life, showing no form of disobedience. I will only be free when I die. Ba Su sounded mad. Jian Wushuang flinched. The price of listening to the 3 emperors' world forever was a heavy price indeed. Ha ha! For billions of years, I will be someone else's pawn, but am willing to do so for this opportunity. Do you know why? Ba Su started laughing. Jian Wushuang looked towards Ba Su. My objective is to kill you. Ba Su started grinning deviously. Chapter 2144 Frenzied Ba Su. Jian Wushuang, give me your life. Ba Su made his move. The enormous distance between the duo was instantly closed by Ba Su. Ba Su appeared in front of Jian Wushuang, with overflowing golden light all over him, looking like a god. Soon, hua, 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 hua. Streaks and streaks of golden claws came down like lightning. Every single golden claw could tear heaven apart. Every streak could have easily wounded a first-stage great emperor, or even killed him. The claws came one after another, turning the sky golden. HNGH! Jian Wushuang snorted, and with a unique sword move, he turned into a heaven-swallowing black whirlpool. Sword Principal Xian Luo, Mixed Elements Spirit. Chong, 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 chong. Sounds of collision could be repeatedly heard, each sound containing terrifying explosive power. As the golden claws came down like rain, Jian Wushuang found himself retreating. You won't parry my attacks. Counter, Jian Wushuang, counter. Ba Su had turned mad. His claws never stopped, and they were getting faster and more powerful. Ba Su was already equipped with pinnacle second-stage fighting powers, with his sky-swallowing clan bloodline. With the 3 emperors' world's opportunity, he had managed to master a bit of the rules of order, which increased his abilities tremendously. His claws, in terms of speed or power, were way more powerful than they had been in the past. Because of this, he had absolute confidence in his power. He knew Jian Wushuang would never match up to him again. Sure enough, he had completely suppressed Jian Wushuang from the beginning. The speed he threw his golden claws with were amazing. Jian Wushuang could only defend. Haha, useless. Good for nothing. Ba Su laughed wildly. The craze in his eyes was evident, but the craze only lasted for a moment. He realized something was wrong. How could this be? My claws are getting faster and more powerful with every blow. He could only resist in the beginning. It should be more difficult for him to resist later. But why has nothing changed? Ba Su looked at Jian Wushuang in amazement. He knew that if Jian Wushuang was really struggling to resist his attack, it would surely become more difficult to resist as his power increased. This difficulty would definitely manifest during the fierce battle. But in the end, although Jian Wushuang had been retreating the entire time, and it looked like he was being suppressed, nothing has changed since. What could this mean? It meant that when Jian Wushuang resisted his attack, it was not as strenuous as he had imagined. Or was it too easy for him? Sure enough, HNGH. A cold snort resonated through the void. Jian Wushuang, who had been defending Ba Su's attacks with his mixed elements spirit swordsmanship, suddenly took the offensive. Mixed elements spirit swordsmanship instantly turned into the sanguis extremis style. Pung! The sword light had cut down the oncoming golden claw. The power released from the collision was enough to throw Ba Su back. Jian Wushuang stood there, looking indifferently at the recomposed Ba Su. This is the power you were proud of? With this power, you want to take me down? There was disdain in his eyes, and his voice echoed through the heavens. How is that possible? Ba Su widened his eyes and stared at Jian Wushuang. It felt impossible, but Jian Wushuang had easily thrown Ba Su back. Idiot! You think everyone needs to sacrifice 1,000,000 years of their freedom to reach third stage great emperor fighting powers. Jian Wushuang sneered. You reached the third stage as well? Ba Su looked stunned. Ba Su had rushed towards the imperial city upon Demon King Qin Yes message, and had not paid much thought to Jian Wushuang's fighting power. Even when he had arrived, he did not notice Jian Wushuang's true fighting power when he was going against the 13 great emperors. Even though he had confronted Jian Wushuang once at the beginning, Jian Wushuang had not demonstrated his true power then. He would never have imagined Jian Wushuang to possess that kind of power. But now, he had finally realized, "Fool, you dare call me useless? I'm afraid calling you useless would do the word a disservice." Jian Wushuang looked at Ba Su, full of ridicule. He had never intended to use his full strength against Ba Su. He simply wanted to know how far Ba Su had improved in mastering a bit of rules of order. The results were disappointing. I thought that with his previous fighting power, coupled with the sky-swallowing clan bloodline power, with the rules of order, he would be tyrannical amongst the third stages. Not only did he fail to master the complete rules of order, but the power he can use from it is negligible. Although this leaves him with third stage fighting power, it's nothing compared to Demon King Qinyu. Jian Wushuang sneered. Jian Wushuang's contempt and ridicule made Ba Su even angrier. "You have a death wish." Ba Su's eyes seemed to spit fire. At the same time, his body started to transform into a giant golden bat. The golden bat had his golden eyes fixed on Jian Wushuang. "Li," an eye-piercing, hissing voice echoed. At the same time, the surface of Ba Su's body emitted a strong golden light, like a dazzling golden sun. "This move again." Jian Wushuang was indifferent. "Wrong. It's not only the sky-swallowing clan's soul attack, but there is also a powerful secret skill embedded within it as well. Maybe a soul attack treasure as well." Jian Wushuang was surprised. He had seen Ba Su play that trick several times. Every time Ba Su made his move, it was a simple soul attack. But now, there was an embedded secret skill, along with an auxiliary soul attack treasure. His soul attack power had naturally soared. "It seems that he's gained more than simple opportunities within the three emperors' world," Jian Wushuang mumbled. Chapter 2145, Not Enough. Ba Su had morphed into a golden bat once again, his eyes filled with bloodlust. "The opportunity three emperors' world has not only allowed me to master rules of order, it has increased my soul power tremendously as well. I even learned a strong soul attack secret skill and obtained a soul attack treasure from the three emperors' world. With my soul power, along with the sky-swallowing clan's soul attack, the secret skill, and the treasure is unparalleled against anyone below third stage great emperors. This Jian Wushuang exposed his weakness to me both times that I fought against him. His soul is not strong. With a soul attack strong enough, I'll ignore his self-defense mechanism and kill him instantly. This move I'm about to make will definitely kill him. Jian Wushuang, prepare to die." The frenzied Ba Su was absolutely confident in his soul attack skills. He had heard of Jian Wushuang's self-defense mechanism. Decades ago, when he just had second-stage fighting powers, he was able to face Demon King Qinyu head-on without dying. His self-defense mechanism had become scarier. It was impossible to kill Jian Wushuang by material attack alone. In this world, under the premise of constrictions, no one could do it. but soul attacks could ignore the self-defense mechanism and pierce the opponent's soul. Only soul attacks could truly kill Jian Wushuang. Hung, a terrifying soul attack, was heading straight for Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang's eyes squinted, but he darted out instead of retreating. During his movements, the soul attack pierced straight into Jian Wushuang. HNGH. Jian Wushuang let out a weird moan, and his face turned pale, but his body was not damaged by the attack at all. The Blood Mountain sword was already raised high, prepared to strike Ba Su. How could this be? Ba Su, still in the form of a golden bat, was surprised. He dared not believe it. Jian Wushuang had survived his strongest soul attack. Not only did he survive, he also did not seem to have suffered many injuries. When had Jian Wushuang's soul defense power become so powerful? Idiot! The decisive battle between the eternal chaotic world and the three emperors' world is about to begin. Knowing my soul was my weakness, you thought I would not take precautions? Jian Wushuang sneered. What kind of soul defense treasure do you possess? Ba Su could not help but ask. Jian Wushuang could not be bothered explaining it to him. The Blood Mountain sword had already fallen. Sword Principal Xian Luo, Blast Rainstorm. This was also the first time that Jian Wushuang went on the offensive against Ba Su. With the help of immemorial celestial Bodhi's second scroll, bloodline power of the ancient clan doubled with Sword Principal Xian Luo's most powerful move. This sword move's power was enough to make any great emperor below the third stage fall into despair. Damn it! Ba Su could feel the power of the sword. Immediately, he exerted his means to resist. Pung! A loud bang went off. Ba Su's body was split apart, and a blast of flowing light was released. The gap in strength and power could be seen immediately. Ba Su, you've run out of moves. Now it's my turn. Jian Wushuang's desire to kill was at its peak. His huge ancient clan body started to make its attack. As he was about to make his move, a huge space tunnel appeared from far. At a void above the imperial cabinet, several figures stepped out of the space tunnel. There were 7 people, all of their strong auras indicative of their great emperor levels. And headed by them was Demon King Chenyu. Demon King Chun Yu had rushed into the imperial city with 6 other great emperors. 3 of the great emperors belonged to the Acheron Palace. The other 3 were 3 emperors' world experts. As the battle within the imperial city began, many experts of the 3 emperors' world arrived at the battlefield through various channels at Kaiser Blood's command. Jian Wushuang. Demon King Chen Yu's eyes were fuming with rage, like he was a furious lion. He looked around the battlefield and saw an ugly sight. Every corner of the imperial city had turned into a bloodbath. Countless experts had fallen into the hands of Abysmal Saint Master and the other great emperors. Although the 7 great emperors have now been stopped by Ling Zong and other 3 emperors, world great emperors, the slaughter from before was enough to traumatize anyone. Jian Wushuang, the 8 of you all will die with our fallen. Demon King Chen, you let out a huge scream and headed towards Jian Wushuang. The 6 great emperors behind him rushed into the battlefield and joined forces with Ling Zong and the other 13 great emperors, fighting fiercely against Abysmal Saint Master, Jian Yi, and the others. The battle had been elevated to a whole new level. Jian Wushuang did not have the slightest fear when he saw Demon King Chen Yu coming for him. Let's go. Bring it on. Jian Wushuang's war-fighting spirit had long been ignited. His abilities were at an all-time high. Die! Demon King Chen Yu and Ba Su made their moves at the same time. 2 third-stage great emperors were joining forces against Jian Wushuang. Even against 2 enemies with that almost indestructible, unique constitution of his, Jian Wushuang had no fear. He looked as if he was already in a frenzy fighting against Demon King Chenyu and Ba Su, but deep inside, he had never been calmer. Deep in his eyes was a light. Demon King Chenyu, Ba Su, 2/3 stage great emperors, along with the great emperors Abysmal Saint Master and Jian Yi, are fighting against. That makes 19 great emperors. There are still a few more Sir Gods and Emperor God experts left in the imperial city as well. This power, Jian Wushuang squinted. The forces that had gathered in the imperial city were terrifying, but it was not enough for Jian Wushuang. Not enough. There are not enough experts here. Far from enough. The number of experts here is not enough to devastate the 3 emperors' world. Jian Wushuang's eyes were cold. In his Qian Kuan ring was the void token. He could use the token anytime he wanted. Wait. Jian Wushuang could not use it yet. Chapter 2146 poised to attack Thunderbolt Island, Eternal Chaotic World. While the battle broke out at the Imperial City, countless experts had gathered. Not only the Human Sanctuary Alliance, but the Special Tribes Alliance as well. There were countless experts. At a glance, there was no fewer than 4,000 people. 4,000 may not sound like a lot, but if the 4,000 people were all almighties, the power would be enough to shock the world. The birth of an almighty was not easy at all. Any one of them could be regarded as an overlord. Every single one of them could easily open regions and dominate kingdoms. There were at most a dozen almighties in the Sanctuary Alliance. 4,000 was a terrifying number. Only when the 2 major alliances joined forces and gathered almost all the elites in the Eternal Chaotic World could such a number be produced. It was Eternal Chaotic World's maximum strength. Every single almighty around was eager. They knew why Emperor Bai had gathered them. No doubt, it had to be for the final battle. Within the Presbytery Pavilion, the great emperors from both alliances had gathered. Even putting Jian Wushuang's team of 8 great emperors aside, both alliances could produce over 20 great emperors when they joined forces. Many of those 20 great emperors came from the human domain. Many did not belong to the Sanctuary Alliance beforehand. Joining the alliance was an inevitable choice for the upcoming battle, like Master Wu and Great Emperor Donggu. The great emperors were excited as well. King Luoyu, there are no problems over at the Special Tribes side, right? Emperor Bai looked towards King Luoyu and in Quan. Rest assured, Emperor Bai, the ancient emperor instructed all Special Tribe experts to heed your commands before he left. With your orders, all experts of the Special Tribes Alliance have rushed toward Thunderbolt Island. No one has kept any tactics from us. The many Dao soldiers and ancient god blood essences that the ancient god clan collected were all distributed. We are ready, King Luo, you said solemnly. With Jian Wushuang, King Qinxing, and Black Dragon Emperor headed for 3 Emperors' World, many issues of the Special Tribes Alliance were left to King Luoyu and in Quan. Good. Emperor Bai smiled and nodded, turning to the other person by his side. Tianchen, how are our Sanctuary Alliance soldiers? They have all gathered, Ancestor Tianchen said. As you ordered, all experts who decided to join the battle were given the secret skills of Star Palace. Most of them can use the secret skills of Star Palace's first scroll. The Sanctuary Alliance and other forces have collated their hard-collected resources and redistributed them. Most of them now hold a mixed elements pill that can restore their divine power in a short period of time, and a heavenly life pill that can restore their divine bodhis injuries. Even without those 2 pills, they will at least have replacement elixirs and treasures. Many experts of the Sanctuary Alliance will be able to set up certain battle formations. Lastly, the trump cards we have, like the Heaven-Piercing Arrow, Dragon Imprisoning Formation, Blood Thunder Pill, Star God Puppet, and the Emperor token have all been prepared. Emperor Bai nodded in satisfaction. Everything is ready. We just need to wait for Jian Wushuang to use the void token. Emperor Bai clenched his fists. Many of the great emperors were anxious. They were all waiting for the battle. In the imperial city, the battle continued. The battle had split into two battlefields. The first battlefield was filled with many great emperors fighting fiercely. There were 7 great emperors from the eternal chaotic world, and 19 from the 3 emperors' world. The quantity was not in proportion, but the 7 great emperors from the eternal chaotic world were of high quality. The weakest of the 7, Emperor God Tianling and Lei Yuan, were at pinnacle first stage. The rest were all second stage great emperors, especially Jian as Jian Wushuang's sword servant, and an ancient era expert whose abilities had been fully restored. Jian Yi's powers were at pinnacle second stage levels. With the many skills he had an advantage over Ling Zong and Wei and the 2 middle-aged second stage great emperors. The remaining 6 great emperors were all using their full combat powers, with Jian Wushuang's additional 5 fire godly spirit mirror. Releasing the 5 godly spirits into the battlefield, their total strength was not inferior to the 19 emperors of the 3 emperors' worlds. The battle between both sides was extremely fierce, but it was difficult to determine victory and defeat in such a short time. The second battlefield was where Jian Wushuang was located. Jian Wushuang was in his enormous ancient clan form, with his 9 heads and 18 arms. He had no fear of going against the 2/3 stage great emperors Demon King Qinyu and Ba Su at the same time. He could not take down the 2/3 stage great emperors in front of him, but neither could Demon King Qinyu and Ba Su, who had joined forces. Both battlefields were in a stalemate, but not for long. From the imperial cabinet, another huge space tunnel appeared. A series of figures emerged from the space tunnel. At a glance, there were hundreds of people. Most of them were Sir Gods and Emperor Gods, but the 8 at the forefront standing side by side, with their magnificent auras, were true great emperors. From the Holocaust sect, Jian Wushuang's pupils narrowed, a blood-tainted robe, and that eerie aura emanating from them confirmed the identity of the people. But what made Jian Wushuang surprised was that amongst these Holocaust sect experts, Long Rushue was nowhere to be seen. Instead, there was a red-haired elder. That elder stood there, and his aura felt like a raging flame that had burned for endless years. Jian Wushuang felt tremendous pressure from him. It was much stronger than when he had faced Ba, Su, and Demon King Qinyu. Chapter 2147 Void, Token Lord Fun. Jian Wushuang's pupils shrank. He heard Emperor Bai mention the 3 known 3rd stage great emperors in the 3 emperors' world. They were Kaiser Blood, Lord Fun, and Demon King Qinyu. Demon King Qinyu was the leader of Acheron Palace and had exchanged blows with Jian Wushuang several times, but Jian Wushuang had never encountered Kaiser Blood and Lord Fun. That raging elder with the Holocaust sect experts was undoubtedly Lord Fun. Qinyu, I knew you were a good-for-nothing. Lord Fun glanced at Demon King Qinyu with a hint of taunt. Asshole! Demon King Chun, you could not help but curse. You're Jian Wushuang. Lord Fun looked towards Jian Wushuang. I was in seclusion this entire time, never bothering myself with the eternal chaotic world. I would never have let you reach where you are today, but it does not matter. I will kill you today. Die. With Lord Fen's command, the experts behind him charged towards the battlefield with the other great emperors. He went straight for Jian Wushuang. Hung long long. A terrifying aura started to spread from Lord Fen. His body swept over like a volcano that erupted for billions of years. Wherever he went, the void around was completely dissipated by the fire. When Lord Fen approached Jian Wushuang, Jian Wushuang felt an unprecedented aura of fire charging towards him. The void in front of him had turned into a boundless sea of fire. At the core of this sea of fire was a fiery lord, over 5 meters tall, holding a flaming battle sword in his hands. He rose the flaming sword and slashed down towards the earth. Hua la la, the entire void was covered by endless flames. The flaming sword was enough to burn everything around. Jian Wushuang stood and watched the flaming sword slashing down towards him. Demon King Chun Yu was the weakest amongst the 3 elite experts of the 3 emperors' world. This Lord Fun is stronger than Demon King Chun Yu, but by how much, I do not know. Jian Wushuang clenched his fists firmly, and a bloodthirsty smile appeared on his face. He had no intention to dodge the flaming sword. His surging divine power rose from his body, along with a supreme sword essence. Jian Wushuang, at this moment, was the Emperor of Swords. His sword was the Sword of Emperor. Surging divine power entered the sword, and a shocking sword image could be seen. Emperor Sword Principle, Second Style. This was the strongest sword move Jian Wushuang knew. The shocking sword image went head-on with that flaming sword, confronting toughness with toughness. Pung! The world shook. The monstrous flames and endless sword essence dissipated. This collision did not lead to a stalemate. The battle was decided in an instant. This level of power, Jian Wushuang was shocked. He could feel a power passing through his arm, so strong that even his self-defense mechanism could not ignore it. Instantly, his body moved directly towards the earth like a meteorite. Eventually, he slammed on the ground below, creating a huge bottomless pit. The next moment, Jian Wushuang rose from the pit. So strong. Jian Wushuang had his eyes fixed on Lord Fen. Both were 3rd-stage great emperors, but Lord Fen's fighting power was way more powerful than Demon King Chinyu and Ba Sus. Jian Wushuang estimated. If Lord Fen was not at the pinnacle 3rd-stage level, he was close. This fighting power was way above his. Sword Emperor. A low howl came from the other battlefield. Jian Wushuang turned towards the sound and realized that Abysmal Saint Master Jian Yi and the others were already at a disadvantage. This was normal. They could fight 19 great emperors at the same time, but with the new Holocaust sect experts in the battlefield, along with other distraction tactics done by other almighties at the sidelines, they could not hold on any longer. Seeing this, Jian Wushuang's face darkened. 3 3rd-stage great emperors, 26 1st or 2nd-stage great emperors. Countless. This is enough. Jian Wushuang was determined. The void token was now in his hands. Lord Fun, Demon King Chinyu, and Ba Su saw the token as well. What token was that? Ba Su was puzzled. The token contains great space-time power. Is he trying to escape? Demon King Chun, yes, face changed. Escape? Not on my watch. Lord Fen's face was ice cold. The 3 emperors' world had lost too much during that sneak attack. The only way to rebalance the overall fighting power on both sides was if Jian Wushuang and the other great emperors stayed. Jian Wushuang and others could not be allowed to escape. Thinking of this, Lord Fen's blazing flames once again covered the earth and the entire battlefield, locking down the entire void. With his strength, he had created a space-time seal, which made normal space-time tokens useless. Jian Wushuang, you cannot escape. Prepare to die. With a low roar, Lord Fun, who had transformed into a blazing lord once again, headed towards him. Jian Wushuang squinted. With Lord Fen's power, along with Demon King Chinyu and Ba Su's cornering, if Jian Wushuang did not escape, he could really die. However, who told you I was escaping? Jian Wushuang's cheeky smile was as sharp as a blade. It is you who should be fleeing. Jian Wushuang clenched his right fist firmly and broke the void token. A vast power of space-time immediately swept through the environment. The power of space-time was beyond Lord Fen's imagination. Normal space-time measures would be ineffective under his space-time seal, but he was unable to stop the billowing space-time power. Wong. A huge space tunnel appeared in the void of the Imperial City. A strong light could be seen in Jian Wushuang's eyes. Step 2 has begun. Chapter 2148, The Sudden Decisive Battle on Thunderbolt Island. Eternal chaotic world. Countless experts waited in silence. Finally, the power of space-time created a huge space-time tunnel above Thunderbolt Island. The experts' eyes all lit up at the sight of the tunnel. Xiao, Emperor Bai, and the countless great emperors from both alliances appeared in front of the tunnel immediately. Looking at the tunnel in front of him, Emperor Bai's eyes lit up. His voice echoed around Thunderbolt Island. The great battle has arrived. Fellow warriors, let us slaughter our way into the Three Emperors' world to eradicate Eternal Chaotic World's largest tumor. Die. Emperor Bai was the first to step into the time-space tunnel. The countless experts behind him did not hesitate and followed suit. Countless more almighties entered as well. The void above the Imperial City. Lord Fun and Demon King Chen, you felt something was amiss when the huge space-time tunnel appeared. They could tell the tunnel was extraordinary. It was too big. The power of space-time was too strong. Jian Wushuang would not use such a big space-time tunnel to escape. And with what Jian Wushuang had just said, as Lord Fun and Demon King Chen, you were lost in thought. Xiao. A figure appeared from the other side of the tunnel. He had white hair and white pupils. His fair complexion was terrifying as well. No aura came from him, but he still found himself under the spotlight. Lord Fun and Demon King Chen, you could not help but fix their eyes upon that person. Emperor Bai. Lord Fun and Demon King Chen, you were flustered. Both of them have fought against Emperor Bai before. They knew how terrifying he was. Now, Emperor Bai stood before them once again. And it was not just Emperor Bai. Figure after figure appeared from the tunnel. Red Dragon King, Ancestor Tianchun, Colored Glaze Emperor, East Royal Emperor, and other great emperors from the Sanctuary Alliance. King Luo Yu, King Zhan Tsang, and Quan, and other great emperors from the Special Tribes Alliance. There were over 20 people. Following them were countless almighties. The number alone was shocking. Within a short period of time, all the experts from the eternal chaotic world arrived at the Imperial City through the space-time tunnel. The fact that Lord Fun, Demon King Chenyu, and Ba Su were third-stage great emperors did not stop them from gasping at the sight of so many figures. Not to mention the other three emperors, world experts. They completely froze. Emperor Bai's intention was clear as day. Everyone, let the slaughter begin. A faint sound came from Emperor Bai. The 20 great emperors and 4,000-odd almighties moved. Die! 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 Kill them all! The cries resonated across the entire Imperial City. The figures headed for the three emperors, world experts, like a swarm of bees. This had many three emperors, world experts, dumbfounded. Crap! The final battle. It was the final battle. The final battle has begun. Voices of terror could be felt from the three emperors, world experts. And indeed, it had begun. But the battle was so sudden, the enemy was not prepared for it at all. Technically, they had begun their preparations quite a while back, but they had never expected the eternal chaotic world experts to start the final battle in such a manner. First, a team of experts to deal as much damage to the three emperors' world as possible. When the three emperors' world experts came to their assistance, they crushed the void token, allowing the entire eternal chaotic world army, to arrive instantly. It was too sudden. The three emperors' world was caught unprepared. At that special dark void, Kaiser Bloodsat had been sitting peacefully, waiting for the imperial city's good news. But his face had changed. Final battle. Crap, we've been played. A grunt was made, and Kaiser Blood disappeared from the void. The imperial city was now in complete chaos. The eternal chaotic world army had directly made their way towards the three emperors, world great emperors, and almighties. All of them were dying to kill. At the vanguard was Ancestor Tian Chun, dragon imprisoning formation. Ancestor Tian Chun let out a low roar, heard by a few behind him. The people that heard him all took out an ancient black rock. The black rock let out a mysterious aura. Without hesitation, they threw the rocks at the three emperors' world experts. There were 6 rocks thrown out. The rocks then exploded on the way out and formed a huge formation. 6 ancient formations were formed, covering 6 different voids. The 6 voids covered much of the great emperors amongst the 3 emperors' world experts. What is this? The experts trapped in the formation were shocked and tried to break it down. But soon they realized that the formation was so strong it was practically indestructible. Even when the great emperors combined their powers, they could not take it down. They could only leave the formation when its energy had dissipated. The Dragon Imprisoning Formation had been one of Sanctuary Alliance's trump cards since the ancient era. Once the formation was set, even great emperors could not break it. The 6 Dragon Imprisoning Formations had now taken away the 3 emperors' world's experts' opportunity for escape. Heaven-piercing arrows, stand by! Ancestor Tian Chun gave the order via transmission. In the void behind the eternal chaotic world army was a dozen almighties. They did not charge into the battlefield like the others. In front of them were 4 huge ballistae. Chapter 2149, all the trump cards, the ballistae, were usually only found in the mortal world. Its presence was extremely rare in the eternal chaotic world. But the 4 ballistae above the void were from the ancient era. The 4 ballistae needed a dozen almighties to draw the bow alone, which explained the many almighties manning the devices. Now, the 4 bows were completely drawn with the use of the almighty's power. But the most precious part of the ballista was not its bow, but the black arrow on it. The 4 arrows were called heaven-piercing arrows. Loose! An almighty shouted. The 4 crossbows were released at the same time. For black flowing lights exploded out. It was too fast. So fast, even a great emperor could not react in time. The 4 ballistae were aiming for the 4 great emperors of the 3 emperors' world. The 4 were only first-stage great emperors trapped in the Dragon Imprisoning Formation, still figuring out a way to escape. When the 4 black flowing lights were released, the 4 great emperors had an unprecedented sense of impending crisis. They did not know where the sense of impending crisis came from. But by the time they had reacted, the 4 black flowing lights had already penetrated them. The 4 great emperors looked at the black arrows in shock. They could feel the devastating power the arrows had, leading them to despair. Chi, 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 chi. For black flowing lights penetrated their protective armor, going through their bodies. Wong. For corpses fell straight down to the ground. The heaven-piercing arrow was known for its deadliness, even during the ancient era. In fact, the 4 ballistae could not fully bring out the power of the arrows. But it was enough to take down a great emperor easily. The Sanctuary Alliance had only managed to collect 9 of such arrows since its founding. Now, they had used 4 in one shot. Star God puppets, roll out! Ancestor Tian Chun let out a roar. From the front of the crowd, boom, hum, hum, hum. Several violent auras erupted. 6 great beings appeared on the battlefield. They were all over 10 meters tall, but not a single trace of life could be felt from within them. It was obvious that they were puppets. However, the aura radiated by those puppets was enough to scare countless almighties. Star God puppets. They were unique puppets obtained from ancient battlefields. Each puppet required a lot of resources and divine power to operate. But the moment they were activated, they were at pinnacle first stage fighting power. Now, operated by the Sanctuary Alliance at a high price, the puppets headed straight for the three emperors' world experts. In an instant, the eternal chaotic world army collided with the three emperors' world experts. Die, die. Every single eternal chaotic world expert was driven by bloodlust. Most of them were in their battle formations. Some powerful formations, like the one driven by 3 emperor gods and 12 pinnacle sir gods, fought directly against a 3 emperors world great emperor. Get lost! The great emperor's stone rod in his hand skyrocketed in the void to form a huge mountain. The mountain went straight for the formation. With a loud bang, the formation had to retreat, but it did not collapse. A great emperor indeed. 3 emperor gods and 12 sir gods working together were still forced out by him. I guess there is only one method left, an emperor god within the formation said solemnly. The others understood what he meant. Wong, Wong, Wong. A peculiar force rose from the 3 emperor gods and 12 sir gods. It was star power. At that moment, they had used the secret skills of Star Palace simultaneously. Although they had only read up the secret skills of Star Palace's first scroll, it was enough to increase their powers tenfold. With their powers increased substantially, the battle formation reached a whole new level. We have 10 breaths worth of time to take him down. We must at least wound him, the leading emperor god said. And with that, the battle formation charged towards the great emperor. Both sides began their brawl once again. In a rage, the great emperor raised his stone rod with much more strength. The giant that had been formed by the battle formation threw a heavy punch. Hung. A loud explosion could be heard from the battlefield. The giant did not retreat at all, while the 3 emperors' world great emperor was left wide-eyed, trembling. Blood was flowing from his mouth. How could this be possible? The great emperor was astonished. But the giant did not stop and seized all the remaining time it had left. Master Wu of the eternal chaotic world had his eyes fixed on the great emperor as well. Together, they had completely suppressed that great emperor. 1 breath, 2 breaths, 9 breaths passed in the blink of an eye. Last breath, the leading emperor god said. As the giant threw out his last punch, 3 flowing lights burst out of the giant's body. The 3 streaks of flowing light were in fact 3 purple beads. It was another trump card of the Sanctuary Alliance, the Blood Thunder Pearl. The Blood Thunder Pearl was so strong that it was almost comparable to the blow of a great emperor. Now, 3 of the pearls were headed towards that great emperor, along with Master Wu's sword suppressing him. Chapter 2150, Overwhelming Superiority. The 3 Blood Thunder Pearls immediately exploded upon contact with the great emperor. Pung, pung, pung. 3 violent forces erupted from the Blood Thunder Pearls. The power was directed towards that 3 emperors' world great emperor, and at the same time, Master Wu made his lethal sword stroke. Hung. A storm of divine power immediately rolled up. After it had dissipated, what remained was an unbearable scene of the great emperor. Not only was his complexion pale, his entire body was also stained with blood, and his breath was extremely weak. Did we injure him enough? The 3 emperor gods and 12 pinnacle sir gods' eyes lit up. Their secret skills of Star Palace had stopped by then. Without the secret skills of Star Palace, we can no longer engage ourselves in great emperor-level fights. Let's leave the rest to Master Wu. Immediately, the giant left for another battlefield. The same scenario was happening at all corners of the battlefield. The Sanctuary Alliance had over 100 Blood Thunder Pearls, and every pearl contained the power equivalent to a great emperor when it exploded. The Blood Thunder Pearls were distributed in the hands of many emperor gods and sir gods, and played a great role at critical times. All the trump cards and meticulously prepared treasures helped the Eternal Chaotic World Army bring unprecedented damage to the three emperors' world. The situation on the battlefield was completely one-sided. There was no room for struggle. Actually, the overall strength of the three emperors' world was not weaker than the Eternal Chaotic World by one bit. Perhaps it was even stronger. However, they suffered because they had been caught by surprise. They were unprepared. They had suffered terrible losses from the very beginning. By the time they could react, their power was no match for the Eternal Chaotic World. The most they could do was block the Eternal Chaotic World's attacks. The defense could not last for long. As the Eternal Chaotic World's army charged towards the three emperors' world experts, Emperor Bai made his move at the other battlefield. His opponents were naturally Lord Fun and Demon King Chen Yu. Wang, a huge, immaculate golden shadow rose from behind Emperor Bai. It was a golden emperor. He was 99,000 feet tall, 3,000 feet wide, with a pair of golden pupils that could see everything. Like a golden arc, it was as if the entire world had surrendered under his feet. As the golden shadow appeared, Emperor Bai's aura reached its climax. He made his move. The white, slender arm made a fist, and explosive power began to be concentrated. The 99,000-foot golden shadow did the same and held his right fist tightly. Emperor Bai punched out. Hung long long. The void in front scattered instantly. It swept over everything. It was as if nothing, including heaven and earth, space and time, could resist that punch. Lord Fun and Demon King Chun, yes, faces changed. They had both fought against Emperor Bai before. They knew how scary he was. The punch and its imposing power frightened both of them. Together, Lord Fun billowed. His flames rised towards the sky once again. The fiery lord he had morphed into also rose to hundreds of feet tall. He was like the master of the world's flames. As the fiery lord held the flame sword with both of his hands, the sword started to emit a terrifying power. The power had billowing divine power, secret skills, and rules of order. The rules of order were extremely violent. Cut! The fiery lord let out a loud roar, and the fiery blade swung down immediately. The fiery power from the draw of the blade incinerated everything around into dust. Demon King Chen, you made his move as well. He displayed his 8 arms, each holding a divine weapon. At that moment, the 8 divine weapons unleashed their potential and charged towards Emperor Bai. Soon, their attacks came into contact with Emperor Bai's shocking punch. Pung! A loud bang. The large golden fist rammed through the flaming blade, crushing Demon King Chun, yes, 8 divine weapons, and continued its attack. Hung long long. A terrifying power was in play. Lord Fun and Demon King Chun, you were darting out like bombshells. Too strong. Lord Fun marveled. Jian Wushuang, who had witnessed that scene from afar, was dumbfounded as well. 1 versus 2, crushing the enemies as well. Emperor Bai is strong indeed. Demon King Chun, you only possessed average 3rd stage Great Emperor fighting powers. But Lord Fun was near pinnacle 3rd stage level, yet he was ridiculously far behind Emperor Bai. This will be much easier now that Emperor Bai has joined the fight. Jian Wushuang smiled and stared at his opponent. Lord Fun and Demon King Chun, you were both marked by Emperor Bai. Now, Jian Wushuang's only opponent left was Ba Su. Let's do this, Ba Su. Jian Wushuang's voice was harsh and charged towards him. Back at the imperial city, the battle had become extremely intense. But the situation was obvious. The three emperors' world experts were retreating. The gap between the two worlds' overall power was getting wider. This excited many experts of the eternal chaotic world. They knew that the opponent was about to crumble. They just needed to continue to fight on, and victory would be theirs. But as Three Emperors' world was at the verge of collapse, Wang, a beautiful crimson figure, appeared above the imperial city via space tunnel. His appearance was well marked by his strong bloodlust. The smell of blood, its density, was unprecedented. Many experts could not help but turn over. The Three Emperors' world experts were elated. On the other hand, the eternal chaotic world's experts' pupils shrunk sharply. Kaiser Blood. He's finally arrived. Emperor Bai showed a baffling smile. Hapter 2151 Kaiser Blood. A rival Kaiser Blood. One of three leaders in the Three Emperors' world, and the strongest expert amongst them. Even the other two leaders looked to him for leadership, but Kaiser Blood barely showed up. The previous time the Supreme Emperor's Stone had been destroyed by Jian Wushuang and others in the imperial city, it had been Lord Fun and Demon King Qinyu that had moved out. He hid in the shadows. But now, Kaiser Blood could no longer sit still. The void above the imperial city was Kaiser Blood's fuzzy figure. His bloodshot eyes got a good look of the entire battlefield. His heart sunk upon the sight. At this moment, boom, a terrifying aura billowed over him. Kaiser Blood looked up and realized Emperor Bai had appeared in front of him. Emperor Bai's giant golden shadow remained standing, its desire for battle rising tremendously. Kaiser Blood, I finally get to meet you. Emperor Bai's voice was clear, with vast golden divine power coming out from him every time he spoke. It became a huge ocean of golden divine power. Emperor Bai was at the center of the wave of golden divine power. He clenched his fists and threw a punch. The punch stirred the entire golden divine power sea and arrived at Kaiser Blood within the blink of an eye. Emperor Bai. Kaiser Blood squinted. He had heard of many stories regarding Emperor Bai, so he dared not let his guard down. Immediately, he took a single step, releasing a horrifyingly bloody aura throughout the entire battlefield. Kaiser Blood's hazy right fist was covered by a crimson glow. He pointed his finger towards the void in front of him. With a finger, boundless crimson light burst forth, and a huge sculpture was formed in the void. The sculpture was taller than Emperor Bai's 99,000-foot-tall golden shadow, at a sitting position to top it up. It was a crimson divine demon. Its three eyes were all fixated on Emperor Bai. An ancient aura was dispersed. At the same time, dom, 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 dom. Ancient bell sounds meandered across the heavens. The bell's sound contained a special charisma, stopping many cultivators below Great Emperor level, leaving them dazed. The crimson divine demon made its move. The gigantic palms of his clapped. With one clap, heavens and earth fell silent. The palm was increasing in size. Finally, the palm came into contact with Emperor Bai's golden shadow's fist. Pung! Emperor Bai was slightly taken aback. The golden shadow behind him dimmed down quite a bit as well. The crimson divine demon statue in front of him, on the other hand, collapsed immediately as the crimson light scattered out. Within moments, the crimson divine demon was destroyed, blowing Kaiser Blood away. Kaiser Blood took a moment to compose himself. Indeed, the strongest expert in the world, Kaiser Blood said, his bloodshot eyes still fixed on Emperor Bai. You're not too bad yourself. Much stronger than Lord Fun and Demon King Qinyu, Emperor Bai said, but there was doubt in his eyes. He could sense that Kaiser Blood's situation was peculiar. It's a shame I do not have the time today. If I did, I would really like to witness your inverse cultivation for myself, Kaiser Blood said. Trying to escape? Emperor Bai asked. Kaiser Blood simply smiled back. As he smiled, countless crimson light rays shone on him. Kaiser Blood at that moment had become a huge, dazzling crimson sun. The crimson sun shone its bloodshot rays all over, forming a continuous sea of blood sweeping in from all directions. The sea of blood was so vast, and the power it contained was extremely unique. Even Emperor Bai's golden divine power, sea, could not stop it. In an instant, the sea of blood covered every corner of the Imperial City's battlefields. Space tunnels started to appear from that very sea. Those space tunnels were formed haphazardly by the sea of blood, numerous, and all located near the three Emperor's world experts. The space tunnels released a terrifying suction immediately. Many three Emperor's world experts, like the average Emperor gods, Sir Gods, were all drawn in involuntarily and eventually disappeared into the space tunnel along with other great emperors. In an instant, the three Emperor's world experts that had flooded the battlefields all disappeared. That included the great emperors, including Lord Fun, Demon King Chinyu, and Ba Su. The eternal chaotic world experts were simply unable to stop them. When Jian Wushuang realized Ba Su was gravitating towards the space tunnel, he immediately performed the moon picking skill in an attempt to seal the surrounding space-time. But he realized as he was about to perform the moon picking skill, he was blown away by the sea of blood's impact. He could not force Ba Su to stay. Only one person from the three Emperor's world forces remained in the Imperial City. It was Kaiser Blood. Impressive, this Kaiser Blood. Jian Wushuang was fixated on him, slightly shocked by what he had done. The three Emperor's world was already on the verge of defeat, so all they had to do was carry on hunting them down, and the enemy would have been left defeated. They could have kept at least half of the enemy forces. But with one move from Kaiser Blood, he directed all the experts to safety immediately. The method was heart-wrenching. Emperor Bai, the Blood Lord located at the center of the Sea of Blood, spoke. Our three Emperor's world's forces were caught off guard this time. You will not be so lucky next time. Kaiser Blood then looked towards Jian Wushuang. Chapter 2152 Victory. Jian Wushuang's expression changed, and he looked towards Kaiser Blood. Kaiser Blood looked towards Jian Wushuang in a peculiar way. Jian Wushuang, you have destroyed the three Emperor's world's plans several times. I remember you now. Wait and see. They'll give you a surprise the next time we meet. Ha ha! A burst of devious laughter echoed around, and Kaiser Blood's figure faded into nothing in front of all the eternal chaotic world experts. The blood-colored sea that had filled the entire Imperial City gradually disappeared as well. The Imperial City went quiet once again. With that, the final battle came to an end. Unfortunately, there was no decisive victory on both sides. Jian Wushuang, Abysmal Saint Master, and others gathered above the void. Are you all right, guys? Emperor Bai looked at the great emperors in front of him. The great emperors in front of him were those that had followed Jian Wushuang in the sneak attack. We're fine, but Black Dragon Emperor was hit badly by 1-3 Emperor's World Great Emperor, Abysmal Saint Master said. Jian Wushuang immediately looked towards Black Dragon Emperor and found her rather pale in complexion, and her aura had been weakened significantly as well. He frowned. I'm fine. It'll recover over time. Black Dragon Emperor looked at Jian Wushuang and smiled. Jian Wushuang nodded. At this time, Ancestor Tian Chun walked over. Emperor Bai, the casualties on both sides have been tallied, Ancestor Tian Chun said. The crowd looked at Ancestor Tian Chun. How is it? Emperor Bai asked. We lost a lot of Sir Gods and Emperor Gods, over 200 of them in total with more injured. Luckily, they had elixirs to recover their injuries and divine powers immediately. If not, we would have suffered greater losses. We only have 3 injured great emperors, thankfully, Ancestor Tianqin said. The faces of Jian Wushuang and the others darkened. The battle had been completely to their advantage, but they'd still lost so many almighties. What about the 3 emperors' world forces? Emperor Bai asked indifferently. Ancestor Tianqin straightened himself and replied in excitement. Preliminary statistics showed that with the treasures like heaven-piercing arrows, blood thunder pearl on our side, we took down 8 great emperors alone. Coupling the sword emperor's sneak attack, the 3 emperors' world lost 12 great emperors. Everyone flinched upon hearing the numbers. 12 great emperors. Before the eternal chaotic world had started the great battle, there had only been 13 allied great emperors known by the Sanctuary Alliance. It was only as the battle began that the hidden experts revealed themselves, increasing Sanctuary Alliance's total of great emperors. Taking down 12 great emperors in one blow must have been a devastating blow to the 3 emperors' world. The enemy lost even more Sir Gods and Emperor Gods. Ancestor Tianqin said with excitement, the main factor leading to such great numbers is naturally Jian Wushuang's achievement, taking down over 1,000 almighties. Add that to the almighties taken down by our army, and it means the enemy has lost over 1,500 Sir Gods and Emperor Gods. 1,500 almighties. The great emperors around were all shocked, especially Abysmal Saint Master, Underworld God, and King Chunxing. They had not considered how many they had slaughtered during the fight. Now, they realized how many people had fallen at their blades. They were not surprised, nor did they feel guilty about it. After all, the Sir Gods and Emperor Gods they had slaughtered were considered weak to them. In fact, a lot of them were innocent. They did not know a war was going on between both worlds. Slaughtering such almighties brought them no pride or joy at all. But they had no choice. For the eternal chaotic world and the billions of beings living in it, they had to do it. They had no guilt. It's a pity Kaiser Blood appeared at the last minute, allowing the rest to escape so easily, abandoning the entire imperial city. If not, we could have achieved better results, Ancestor Tianqin said. Jian Wushuang and others nodded. Kaiser Blood was very decisive. Imperial City was the sanctuary grounds of the 3 emperors' world, possessing huge resources and sites of opportunity. Countless 3 emperors' world experts had been stationed there for too long. It was the 3 emperors' world's lair. But when Kaiser Blood saw the situation in front of him, he made the decisive decision to forego the lair to protect the experts. This kind of decisiveness was not one that an average man possessed. We were not able to take down all 3 emperors' world experts, but their losses are definitely much worse than ours. Emperor Bai said, regardless, this is definitely the eternal chaotic world's victory. Yes, a victory. Complete victory. The great emperors around all held hands in excitement. Even though they paid the high price of 200 almighties, they took down 1,500 enemy almighties and 12 great emperors. This degree of victory was unprecedented. Our forces were of equal footing with the enemy before this battle. But now, after today, the scales of victory have completely landed on our side. Chapter 2153, Sweeping 3 Emperors' World. Hearing what Emperor Bai had said, Jian Wushuang and the other great emperors clenched their palms together. They were all elated. Indeed, the battle had turned the tables from being similar in power to completely overpowering the 3 emperors' world to the extent that they had abandoned their lair. The huge amount of resources the 3 emperors' world possessed would allow the eternal chaotic world to progress in strength once again. If it went on, the eternal chaotic world forces would eventually emerge victoriously. As an estimation, we have a 70% chance of winning, Ancestor Tian Chen said solemnly. 70% was Ancestor Tian Chen's estimate. Indeed it was. Even so, we must not let our guard down. The three emperors' world are led by three ancient era leaders, especially that Kaiser Blood. Emperor Bei's expression changed. He's something else, that Kaiser Blood. Jian Wushuang and the others looked at Emperor Bai. They had all witnessed Emperor Bai fighting it out with Kaiser Blood and seen Emperor Bai at the complete advantage. Obviously, Emperor Bei's abilities were about the same as Kaiser Blood's, but as they heard what Emperor Bai had said, if my prediction is correct, Kaiser Blood was not at his best just now. Definitely so, Emperor Bai said. He felt really strong, but could not defeat me during the fight. There is only one explanation for this, which is that he had not fully recovered his abilities. Incomplete form? Abilities not fully recovered? Under those circumstances, if Kaiser Blood could go head-on with Emperor Bai, it meant that his fighting power would be at pinnacle third stage. If he had fully recovered, what stage would that be? Fourth stage? We need to be on our guard. The tactics of the ancient era outpower what you all are familiar with today. We must chase them down. We cannot give them room to breathe, Emperor Bai said coldly. But now that the experts have abandoned their lair, we have no way of knowing where they are hiding. How can we chase them? Jian Wushuang frowned. One should at least know where the enemy was in order to chase them down, right? Kaiser Blood's tactics are impressive, creating space tunnels with his blood-tainted ocean. Even I cannot sense where the space tunnels went, if they have left the three emperors' world or not. If they really wanted to hide, it would not be easy finding them. Emperor Bei's face was sour. But we have no need to find them for now. Our target is the entire three emperors' world. Emperor Bai, you mean? Jian Wushuang read his mind. Emperor Bai said coldly, the three emperors' world will never let us off. If we were on the losing side, they would have decimated the billions of lives on the eternal chaotic world. Therefore, we cannot go soft on their world either. The three emperors' world has countless domains and cultivators. This is the foundation of the three emperors' world. These domains are the ones providing the enemy with cultivators. We must eliminate everything. Of course, we cannot be as ruthless as the enemy. We will spare the normal cultivators, but hunt down the high-ranked experts. Jian Wushuang, Ancestor Tianchun, and many other great emperors around were determined. They had all stepped on the bodies of others to reach where they were today. Naturally, they would not go easy on the enemy. The 12 states, 84 god mansions, 3,300 domains, and countless cultivators of the three emperors' world. The domains and cultivators were the true foundation of the three emperors' world. They were not so as crazy to kill every single cultivator, but they could not afford to not take down the elite ones or potentially elite ones. Tianchun, send the word for the army to move off. Get them to sweep and search every single domain. Kill every powerful almighty in sight, even the real gods. Leave the void real gods and eternal real gods aside, but anyone that reaches chaotic real god, kill them. Emperor Bai said coldly. Understood. Ancestor Tianchun nodded. The rest of you, make your way forward as well. Don't let the enemy defeat us here. Emperor Bai said. Understood. Jian Wushuang, Abysmal Saint Master, and others obeyed his command. Before long, they had reorganized Eternal Chaotic World Army and headed for different domains under the command of several great emperors. The largest sweep within three emperors' world had commenced. A hidden domain within the three emperors' world. The three emperors' world experts that had escaped from the imperial city had all gathered there. At the core of the domain, at the dark void above, gathered Kaiser Blood. Lord Fun, Demon King Qinyu, and Long Rushue. Even though Basu was a third-stage great emperor, his measly status gave him no right to be there. The faces of the four were extremely ugly. We have received the news. The Eternal Chaotic World Army has moved out from the Imperial City and has started sweeping every domain. They are wiping out all the high-ranked experts we have, Kaiser Blood said coldly, but anyone could tell his tone was full of murderous intent. Eternal Chaotic World, Emperor Bai, and that Jian Wushuang. Damn it, damn it. Demon King Chun Yu was bawling. This time, we were outplayed by Emperor Bai, Lord Fan said. The token Jian Wushuang crushed was a void token, if I am not mistaken. A rare token, even in our era. A void token, a carefully thought-out plan for Jian Wushuang and others to hit us unexpectedly, dealing as much damage as possible. Then they lured all the experts over, finally using the token to send their army over to wipe us out. Vicious. Chapter 2154. That move, even Lord Fan was surprised by how amazing this move by Emperor Bai was. Emperor Bai fully made use of the value of the void token. Jian Wushuang also played a big part. He was probably the only person from the Eternal Chaotic World who could sneak into the Imperial Palace easily. This time, the Three Emperors' world has suffered great losses. Our lineup is probably weaker than that of the Eternal Chaotic World, Kaiser Blood muttered. Hearing this, Lord Fan and Demon King Chun Yu fell silent. Before the fight started, the Three Emperors' world always have an advantage. Even without the Dark Millstone, their advantage was still far bigger. They not only had an advantage in the general power level, they had spies from the Akron Palace within the special tribes and the human territory. The chance of victory was about 80%. After a series of battles, they had lost their edge and were now at a disadvantage. They even had to give up territory within the Three Emperors' world. After all these years of elaborate planning, we are going to fail just like this. Demon King Chun Yu said, unwilling to accept the fact. Defeat? How can that be? Even though it is disadvantageous for us now, we still have a chance to turn the tide of battle, but we have to use that move. Kaiser Blood smiled. That move. Lord Fan, Demon King Chun Yu, and Long Rushue looked over to Kaiser Blood. They fell silent. They clearly understood what Kaiser Blood had meant when he had said that move. It was exactly because they knew clearly what he meant they were solemn. They dared not use it carelessly. The cost of that move was so huge that it was not easy for even Lord Fan and Demon King Chun Yu to accept. I, too, do not want to use that move. However, given the situation at hand, the Three Emperors' word will stand no chance against the Eternal Chaotic World if we do not use it. Our defeat is just a matter of time. If that were the case, our effort all these years would be put to waste, Kaiser Blood muttered. Wouldn't that move be a little too cruel? Demon King Chun Yu said as he knitted his eyebrows tightly. Demon King Chun Yu was a leader of the Akron Palace. He had come from the ancient past, and hence his heart had been hardened over and over again. Even though he was decisive, he did not care when he knew that the Dark Millstone would destroy all life in the Eternal Chaotic World. When Kaiser Blood mentioned that move, even he felt it was too cruel and evil. We can only imagine how terrifying the move was. I fully agree with Kaiser Blood. Critical moments like this require a different way of doing things. Chun Yu, you have lived for so long, you should know clearly you will need to give some things when the time comes. Why are you so hesitant? Lord Fan said emotionlessly. Demon King Chun Yu squinted his eyes as he nodded his head. If that is the case, let us use that move. Everything is for our final objective. Yes, everything for our final objective. Kaiser Blood smiled coldly. Kaiser Blood, Lord Fun and Demon King Chun, you made up their minds. As for Long Rushua, she simply sat there quietly at the side. She did not speak at all. However, you could see there was a glint of a different emotion in her beautiful eyes. Kaiser Blood, when will we use that move? Demon King Chun, you asked. Let us not hurry. I still need to make some preparations. Let us endure for a period of time. Kaiser Blood smiled. Hearing this, Demon King Chun, you stopped asking questions. Within the three emperors' world, the army from Eternal Chaotic World swept the different territories. Many of the top-tier experts, such as Sir Gods, Emperor Gods, and the rare few great emperors had received the message from the higher-ups from the three emperors' world and ran to hide at the new assembly point. Even so, many of the experts who had not received the message in time died. As the army swept across the territory, these remaining experts were exterminated. Not just the Almighty, but many of the chaotic real gods had died when they were discovered by the experts from the Eternal Chaotic World. Time flew. In the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. The army from Eternal Chaotic World swept the territories within the three emperors' world for 3 months. Within the 3 months, all of the territories were swept many times. After the sweep, most of the experts had already died. Emperor by then ordered the sweep to stop. The Imperial Palace was originally the home base of the three emperors' world. Now it was under the control of the experts from the Eternal Chaotic World. Jian Wushuang and many of the great emperors gathered in the Grand Palace. We have swept most of the territories within the three emperors' world. The experts were all exterminated. All we are left with are the experts who escaped and the location of their assembly point. Emperor Bai said, the great emperors present were clueless. In 3 months, these great emperors had followed the army to sweep the territories. They had originally thought the experts from the three emperors' world would put up a fight. In reality, the 3 months had gone smoothly. No one had tried to fight back, and the remaining experts had been killed. The top-tier experts had abandoned their territory in this world, and the cultivators were living inside. After the battle 3 months ago, the three emperors' world suffered great losses. They know they could no longer go head-to-head with us. They must be hiding somewhere, waiting for a chance to strike back, Ancestor Tian Chun said. I think so too. They might be preparing for some special means to turn the tide of this battle. The reason they are not attacking us right now is because they have yet to finish their preparations. Jian Wushuang agreed. From what Kaiser Blood had said before they'd escaped, the three emperors' world would not give up so easily and would strike back. Like Emperor Bai had said, the three emperors' world could really be preparing for some means to turn the tide of the battle. Hence, we cannot give them time to prepare. We need to find them and kill them all. Jian Wushuang said coldly, Chapter 2155, Blatant Search. That is right. If I am not wrong, they must be hiding in the three emperors' world, be it a very distant place or a dangerous place. Emperor Bai nodded his head in agreement and continued, Tianchun, order the experts from the Eternal Chaotic World to search this place carefully. Roger that. Ancestor Tian Chun went off to pass the order. What followed was a blatant and thorough search within the three emperors' world. Even though the three emperors' world was huge, there were thousands of almighties from the Eternal Chaotic World. If they split up and search, they could search the entire world in a short amount of time. However, the great emperors would not involve the great emperors. Jian Wushuang took this time to go into a secret room. He sat down, and a golden sword appeared in front of him. It was the Hongjun Golden Sword. This was the legitimate Hongjun Golden Sword. He had got it when Head killed Zi Chun. The legitimate Hongjun Golden Sword was much more powerful than the replica. Jian Wushuang knew this clearly. When he had just reached the fighting power of a great emperor, he had fought Si Chun. Even though he was slightly stronger, he had still lost when the originals and replicas of the Hongjun golden swords clashed. This was due to the swords themselves. Now that Jian Wushuang had the legitimate Hongjun golden swords, he was going to refine them. The experts from the ancient past had really amazing techniques. They could make replicas that greatly resembled the original. Even the aura from the two different swords were exactly the same. The only difference is probably the power. Jian Wushuang smiled lightly. Before long, he started refining the swords. The process of refining the swords was not complicated. Within a day, Jian Wushuang managed to refine all 9 Hongjun golden swords. Let me try out its power. Jian Wushuang thought with anticipation. He controlled one of the Hongjun golden swords as it flew forward. Whoosh! A golden beam of light burst forth instantly. Under his control, the sword maneuvered around the room at a great speed, changing directions every now and then. The sword itself could not be spotted. All one could see was the golden light it emitted. Oh boy, the speed increased by so much. Jian Wushuang was excited. Jian Wushuang waved his hand as another Hongjun golden sword appeared in front of him. It was the replica version. Whoosh! The same golden light burst forth. Even though it had great speed, it was obvious that it was on a completely different level compared to the original version. Most importantly, the sound the original sword made when it sliced the air was much stronger and piercing. This speed, the original, is at least 3 times faster than the replica. Jian Wushuang clenched his fist as he tested out the power of the Hongjun golden sword. Boom! Boom! Both of the Hongjun golden swords burst forth and attacked the void space. One of the void spaces twisted and turned while the other burst open. It looked like the latter had greater power, but Jian Wushuang could feel that the first one had concentrated its power and none was lost. Oh my! Based on power alone, the original Hongjun golden sword is at least twice as powerful as the replica. I currently have the fighting power of a stage 3 great emperor. The attack from one Hongjun golden sword is equivalent to that of a stage 3 great emperor, and I can control 7 of them. If I use all 7 of the Hongjun golden swords together. Jian Wushuang was excited. Hongjun golden sword was a very powerful weapon from the ancient past. It was favored by many experts that meditated on the space-time doctrine. The Hongjun golden sword was also incredibly powerful. Ever since Jian Wushuang had received the replica Hongjun golden sword from Long Qi, it had benefited him greatly. Now that he had received the original Hongjun golden sword, he would benefit even more. After obtaining the 9 Hongjun golden swords, my battle power has increased significantly. If I am ever surrounded again, I can kill them all as long as they are not as powerful as me. Jian Wushuang smiled. Jian Wushuang remained inside the secret room to familiarize himself with the 9 new Hongjun golden swords. In the blink of an eye, half a month passed. During this period of time, the experts from the eternal chaotic world flipped the 3 emperors' world upside down. It was a pity that they still could not find the experts from the 3 emperors' world who were hiding. Even though they did not find the experts, they found clues. Jian Wushuang, come and find me. Emperor Bai sent a message to Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang left the secret room he was in and went to find Emperor Bai inside the palace. Ancestor Tianchen, too, was in the palace. Emperor Bai, have you found them? Jian Wushuang asked. I have found some clues, but we cannot confirm them yet. We need someone to explore the clues first, Emperor Bai said. Oh. Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows. Ancestor Tianchen whipped out a star map. This was the complete and detailed map of the Three Emperors' world. After Ancestor Tian Chun had taken out the map, he pointed at a certain territory. From our deductions, the experts from the Three Emperors' world should be hiding here, at this place called the Ancient Blood Forbidden Ground. Ancestor Tian Chun said, "Ancient Blood Forbidden Ground." Jian Wushuang was surprised. "You have heard of it?" Emperor Bai squinted his eyes and looked over. Of course, Jian Wushuang nodded his head. Chapter 2156 Ancient Blood Forbidden Ground. Jian Wushuang had lived within the Three Emperors' world for a period of time, and he knew the names of notorious experts and forbidden grounds. Jian Wushuang had heard of the Ancient Blood Forbidden Ground. The Three Emperors' ground had 8 danger areas for grounds of despair and 1 forbidden ground. Aside from the 8 danger areas, anyone under the chaotic realm who entered the 4 grounds of despair would definitely die in them. The chances of survival were low even for experts in the early and middle stage chaotic realm who went in and explored such areas. There were experts in peak chaotic realm and great emperors who died when they were exploring the depth of these places. These places were notorious within the Three Emperors' world. However, there was one place far more dangerous and deadly than the rest. It was the one and only forbidden ground. It was the Ancient Blood Forbidden Ground. No matter who entered it, the chances of survival were extremely low. Everyone in the Three Emperor world thinks that the Ancient Blood Forbidden Ground is the most dangerous place of all. Over the ages, not many have dared to enter to explore. Now you're telling me that the experts from the Three Emperors' world are hiding inside there? Jian Wushuang frowned. That was the most dangerous place in all of the Three Emperors' world. Even great emperors found it difficult to leave that place alive, or even unharmed. It might have been too difficult for the experts to hide there. We cannot know for sure. However, our experts realized there were many experts from the Three Emperors' world appearing near the Ancient Blood Forbidden Ground. Some of them were even seen going inside of the Forbidden Ground. Hence, we deduced that there is a high possibility that the experts from the Three Emperors' world are hiding inside there. Ancestor Tian Chun said, "This is one of the possibilities. It is also possible that the experts from the Three Emperors' world revealed where they were on purpose in order to lure our army into the Ancient Blood Forbidden Ground. No one knows for sure what is inside that place. What if the place is really as dangerous as the legend says? It will not be wise if our forces are injured in the process." Emperor Bai continued, "This is why it is not wise for our army to enter the Forbidden Ground right away. The best course of action is for someone to scout the Forbidden Ground and see if the experts from the Three Emperors' world are really in there, or if the experts from the Three Emperors' world are simply luring us into danger. There must be a reason why the Ancient Forbidden Ground is called the most dangerous place in this world. We should not be complacent. If we ask an Almighty to venture inside to scout, it will be equal to suicide, as he will die before he can get any useful intel. Hence, we must send a powerful great emperor as a scout." "I understand." Jian Wushuang nodded his head. Jian Wushuang understood where Emperor Bai and Ancestor Tian Chun were coming from. There were signs of experts from the Three Emperors' world in the Forbidden Ground. Someone had to go and scout, but that someone needed to be powerful. The most suitable great emperor from the eternal chaotic world to do this job would be Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang, only you and I are at the power level of a stage 3 great emperor from the eternal chaotic world. I have to stay alert here in case of any accidents, and hence cannot go to scout personally. Hence, I will have to trouble you to do this for me." Emperor Bai smiled. "Both of us are inverse cultivators. We know clearly how difficult it is to kill inverse cultivators. Combined with your current fighting power, your life will not be in danger within the Forbidden Grounds." If you find the experts from the three emperors' world, you will be able to fend them off for a period of time and request help. The army will charge in at a moment's notice. Emperor Bai said. Jian Wushuang nodded his head. He understood that if an ordinary great emperor went to scout the forbidden ground, he would not have time to do any scouting as he would be too busy trying to stay alive. Hence, the safest and most appropriate person to go would be Jian Wushuang. His ability to survive was far greater than the rest's, and he could fend off multiple enemies for a short period of time until Emperor Bai arrived with the army. I will ask Zhou Qiao to go with you just in case any accidents happen. His doppelganger can ensure there will be no problems in transmitting any messages. Emperor Bai said, If that is the case, I shall leave now. Jian Wushuang said, Go then. All the best. Emperor Bai waved his hands. Jian Wushuang went to look for Emperor Zhou Qiao immediately after he left the palace. Emperor Zhou Qiao. Jian Wushuang called out as he approached him. Sword Emperor. Emperor Zhou Qiao greeted him in return. Jian Wushuang had power only second to Emperor Bai in the eternal chaotic world. During many situations, Jian Wushuang had proved to be vital in turning things around. For example, during the ambush on the imperial palace, Jian Wushuang had contributed greatly to making that a huge success. This was exactly why Jian Wushuang was becoming more and more respected in the eternal chaotic world. Even ordinary great emperors respected him greatly. Have you received any message from Emperor Bai? Jian Wushuang asked. I just received one, and I was about to look for you. I did not expect that you would find me first. Emperor Zhou Qiao smiled. If that's the case, let's go. Furthermore, I have to do something that will be unjust to you. I hope you understand. Jian Wushuang continued. I understand. Emperor Zhou Qiao was not surprised by this. Even though he was a great emperor, he was an ordinary stage, one great emperor. There were many dangers within the ancient blood forbidden ground. He would only become a burden given his fighting power. The best thing was for him to stay within the Blood Mountain Sword and contact Emperor Bai via his doppelganger. Jian Wushuang then suppressed Emperor Zhou Qiao into his Blood Mountain Sword. They then headed for the ancient blood forbidden ground immediately. The three emperors' world had 12 provinces. The ancient blood forbidden ground was located at the intersection of two such provinces. The forbidden grounds occupied such a big area that it resembled a mini-domain. Jian Wushuang reached the Ouyuthang certs of the forbidden grounds. This is the ancient blood forbidden grounds. Jian Wushuang floated in the air as he squinted his eyes and looked down on the domain below. It was covered in a blood-red mist. Even he felt threatened just by looking at the forbidden grounds. One could only imagine how dangerous it actually was. Furthermore, the space-time around the forbidden grounds was unique. I will not be able to transmit any messages from within the forbidden grounds. Luckily, I brought along Emperor Zhou Qiao. Jian Wushuang muttered. He then stepped into the ancient blood forbidden grounds without any hesitation. Chapter 2157 Ambushed. Jian Wushuang had a sword on his back as he explored the ancient blood forbidden ground. The air was filled with blood-red mist that radiated sanguine. However, vegetation was still thick under these conditions. The entire area was a dense jungle. I have no knowledge about the ancient blood forbidden ground. This may be troublesome. Jian Wushuang frowned as he thought to himself. If it had been other dangerous areas like the Four Grounds of Despair, he at least would have had a basic understanding of the place, as several experts had been in and come out to tell the tale. However, the ancient blood forbidden ground was different. Only the most powerful great emperors from the three emperors' world might have some understanding of the dangers of this place. However, all of those great emperors had disappeared and gone inside. He could not get information prior to his scouting mission. Sigh, let's see how this goes. Jian Wushuang muttered to himself. He continued heading straight, cautiously, as his soul power encompassed everything around him. Not long after Jian Wushuang entered the ancient blood forbidden ground, a man in crimson, red cloak seated in the dark void in the depth of the forbidden ground noticed him. Someone ventured in. Kaiser Blood said coldly, "Ventured in? The army from the eternal chaotic world is here?" Demon King Chenyu, who was sat beside Kaiser Blood, asked, "No, there is only one person. Based on his aura, it should be the Sword Emperor." Kaiser Blood said, "Sword Emperor? Jian Wushuang? It's this brat again." Demon King Chenyu widened his eyes and exclaimed, "The army from the eternal chaotic world does things really quickly. They came to scout the ancient bloody forbidden ground so quickly." Lord Fan said coldly, "It is normal. The experts from the eternal chaotic world swept the territories very quickly in an attempt to find where we are hiding. They have swept even the most remote land. What is left are those dangerous areas. Furthermore, our experts will definitely leave behind small traces of evidence that we are here. It is just a matter of time before they get here." Kaiser Blood smiled lightly. "However, they are unsure whether we are really here, and if this is our hiding spot. Otherwise, they would not have just sent the Sword Emperor here alone. The entire army will be here. The Sword Emperor only came here to do some scouting." Lord Fan said, "That should be the case. Since he is here to scout, let him roam inside the ancient blood forbidden ground then. There are natural dangers and the ancient blood tribe within this forbidden ground. If he is lucky, he might even meet that existence, and that will make things interesting." Kaiser Blood smiled. Lord Fun and Demon King Chen, you smiled creepily. They indeed were hiding within the ancient blood forbidden ground, even though there were many dangers there. The reason why they could stay there and stay safe was due to special reasons. But it was a different case for Jian Wushuang. Within the ancient blood forbidden ground, Jian Wushuang was still traveling slowly and cautiously. In the blink of an eye, half a day passed. During this half a day, he did not encounter any dangers. Right then, he appeared on top of a dense forest. Whoosh! A crimson-red beam of light burst forth from below and attacked Jian Wushuang. Huh! Jian Wushuang knitted his eyebrows as he fixed his sight onto this beam of light. The speed of the beam of red light was very fast, much faster than most of the Sir Gods and Emperor Gods. The speed was very similar to that of a great emperor. Most importantly, this beam of red light was always in the depth of the forest. It did not have any aura, and Jian Wushuang had not spotted it using his soul power. When the blood-red beam of light appeared in front of Jian Wushuang, a blood-red claw appeared and targeted his throat. The power of the claw could threaten even Emperor Gods. At such a close distance, the claw could severely injure the victim given how fast and sudden it came. Under this circumstance, an ordinary Emperor God would probably be assassinated. However, the target of the claw was Jian Wushuang. Scram! Jian Wushuang roared. He did not draw his sword. He simply waved his hand, and a sword light appeared. Even though Jian Wushuang had waved his hand casually, the power of this attack was equivalent to that of a stage 1 great emperor. Almost instantly, the claw and the sword light collided with each other. A loud clang was heard, followed by a cry of pain as the blood-red figure backed off. It did not die. Jian Wushuang was surprised. That attack of his had been at the power level of great emperors, and it still had not killed the creature. The blood-red creature steadied itself as Jian Wushuang could finally see the creature's true identity. This exotic beast was about 1.5 m tall and looked like a fox. It was covered in blood-red fur. The eyes of this exotic beast were bloodshot. It stared at Jian Wushuang before it turned and fled back into the jungle below. Now you want to escape? Jian Wushuang stared at the exotic beast coldly as a beam of golden light burst forth. This was the legitimate Hongjun golden sword. It was traveling at a terrifying speed. When Jian Wushuang controlled the replica version of the Hongjun golden sword, it traveled at a speed that made even the stage 1 and 2 great emperors fearful. Now that he was controlling the legitimate sword, the speed was 3 times faster compared to the replica version. What a crazy speed it had. Even though the exotic beast was escaping at great speed, it was still significantly slower compared to the Hongjun golden sword. Within seconds, the Hongjun golden sword caught up to the blood-red exotic beast and collided into its body with terrifying power. Even though the beast had a strong self-defense mechanism, it could not take the attack from the golden sword as it pierced its head. Chapter 2158, Ancient Blood Bios. The entire space was filled with blood-red mist. Jian Wushuang stood there and studied the floating corpse of the exotic beast. Even though the beast was already dead, the body still radiated a horrifying aura. What kind of exotic beast is this? Jian Wushuang knitted his eyebrows and thought to himself. He had been venturing in the eternal chaotic world for so long and had heard of or seen most of the exotic beasts in the world. However, he had never seen this type of exotic beast that excelled in ambushing before. It is very fast, much faster and stronger than any exotic beast I know of. An emperor god would probably die if that claw hit him. Its defense is also far greater than any of its kind. Jian Wushuang struck the exotic beast with an attack which was at the power level of a great emperor. However, the beast was not injured at all. Speed, power, defense. This exotic beast excelled in them all. Its aura was so well hidden that I did not detect its presence even using my soul power. This kind of exotic beast seems like it has no weakness. Jian Wushuang knitted his eyebrows. Terrifying. This was the most terrifying exotic beast that Jian Wushuang had ever encountered. Even though that exotic beast was not a threat to him, it was undefeatable for those ordinary cultivators who were of the same power level as these beasts. I wonder if I will meet more of this exotic beast. Maybe there are even more powerful ones as well. Jian Wushuang muttered to himself. Jian Wushuang started moving as he continued his journey. Before long, he met the same exotic beast, which attacked him the same way again. This time, there were 5 exotic beasts attacking simultaneously. These 5 exotic beasts were of similar power level to the one that Jian Wushuang had just killed. Hence, they died without putting up much of a fight. Jian Wushuang continued his journey again. In the dark space at the depth of the ancient blood forbidden ground, Kaiser Blood, Lord Fun, Demon King Qinyu, and Lung Rushue gathered once again. If everything goes according to plan, Jian Wushuang will probably fight the ancient blood beasts. Kaiser Blood smiled coldly. Even though this tribe was not one of the top-tier tribes back in the First Era, their power is not to be looked down upon. Even the 7-star Black Sect was exterminated during the tragic battle back then. They are lucky that they survived till today. It is a pity that their fighting power is far weaker than before. Even so, the overall fighting power of this tribe is still far greater than the top-tier special tribes in the eternal chaotic world. Before we suffered the heavy losses, the 3 emperors' world only barely managed to suppress them. Those within the clan are not to be messed with. Lord Fen said, "Ha, doesn't Jian Wushuang want to know whether we are inside the ancient blood forbidden ground?" If he really wants to find out, he needs to first overcome the ancient blood tribe. I am curious to find out if he has the ability to stand up to the entire tribe. Demon King Chun Yu chuckled. He can manage tens of such beasts. However, if he ventures deeper into the forbidden ground, he will face more than just the ancient blood tribe. Kaiser Blood smiled. The ancient blood forbidden ground was known by all for being the most dangerous place of all. A part of it belonged to the ancient blood tribe. Even the Three Emperors' world, at its prime, would not dare to declare war on this tribe. They would settle their disputes over treaties and agreements. The reason why the experts from the Three Emperors' world had hidden here was not only because this was a well-concealed location. More importantly, it was because the ancient blood tribe was there. If the army from the eternal chaotic world wanted to attack, they need to first bypass the ancient blood tribe. Meanwhile, Jian Wushuang was still on the move. When he was moving, he encountered small groups of ancient blood beasts. Each of these beasts was very powerful and could threaten any ordinary emperor gods. However, Jian Wushuang handled them with ease. In the blink of an eye, 3 days passed. Jian Wushuang focused his vision as he stopped in his tracks. He saw 6 of the ancient blood beasts up ahead. At the same time, more beasts started to emerge from his surroundings. He did a quick count and realized there were 15 beasts. After I entered the forbidden ground, I never ran into more than 5 of such beasts at any one point of time. Now, there are 15 in front of me. Looks like I am near their home. Jian Wushuang muttered to himself. Each of the exotic beasts was extremely powerful and had seemingly no weaknesses. Any one of them can kill an emperor god. If 10 of them work together, they can threaten ordinary great emperors. No wonder the ancient blood-forbidden ground is called the most dangerous place in this world. No one under the realm of great emperors will dare to venture into this place. Jian Wushuang thought. Even peak emperor gods who did not possess the fighting power of great emperors would die under the combined assault of several ancient blood beasts. If they ran into 15 such beasts, they would definitely die. While Jian Wushuang was thinking to himself, the 15 ancient blood beasts would not sit idle. Everyone stared at Jian Wushuang with their crimson-red eyes. There was no communication between them. The moment they looked at Jian Wushuang, killing intent started to erupt from their bodies. Immediately, whoosh, 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 whoosh. Beams of red light streaked across the battlefield. 15 of the ancient blood exotic beasts attacked simultaneously. Their speed was terrifying. These beasts did not try to communicate with me. They simply attacked. Jian Wushuang knitted his eyebrows as he drew his blood mountain sword. Let's see if you are faster, or my sword skills are faster. Jian Wushuang smiled lightly. He swung the sword in his hand as he cast his sword skills. Sword Principal Xian Luo. Turn monstrous at one thought. Chapter 2159 Killing Spree. Jian Wushuang attacked. His understanding of the space-time doctrine was at the 9th level of the Doctrine Palace. He was extremely fast. He moved around agilely in the space, and the ancient blood beasts who were at the power level of emperor gods could not catch up to him. He swung his blood mountain sword at these beasts. Each swing was casual. Uft, 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 uft. Sounds of the sword penetrating the bodies of these exotic beasts reverberated in the air. The self-defense mechanism these beasts were sliced apart like paper. Within moments, Jian Wushuang swung 8 times. 8 heads came off and fell to the ground. Even though the beasts attacked, they were not even close to touching Jian Wushuang. After this short exchange, the eyes of the remaining 7 exotic beasts turned even more sanguine as they looked up and howled. Arwu! 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 The piercing sounds radiated out in all directions. What is this? Jian Wushuang thought to himself before realizing why these beasts were howling. Instantly, many more blood-red figures appeared in space. Many of them came from every corner possible, and within moments, more than hundreds of them had gathered there. This was only within the immediate vicinity. Jian Wushuang could see that there were even more of such beasts rushing over from further away. Oh my, how many of such beasts are there in the forbidden ground? Jian Wushuang was shocked. One single exotic beast was already scary enough. If hundreds or even thousands of them gathered, this force would be something to reckon with even if the army from Eternal Chaotic World was there. While Jian Wushuang was in disbelief, the large amounts of ancient blood beasts stared at Jian Wushuang with their bloody, cold eyes, which were radiating gloom. At the next instant, these beasts attacked. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Almost every exotic beast there pounced at Jian Wushuang. At that moment, Jian Wushuang was facing at least hundreds of these exotic beasts. Humph! Jian Wushuang grunted as his monstrous aura exploded. However, his aura was not sufficient to stop these exotic beasts. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Jian Wushuang controlled his 7 Hongjun golden swords using the power of space-time as they burst forth as beams of golden light simultaneously. These 7 swords were far too fast and powerful. The 7 swords appeared in front of 7 of such exotic beasts and penetrated their bodies without any obstructions. Then, the 7 swords changed their targets and attacked 7 other exotic beasts. At the same time, Jian Wushuang grew in size. Heads and arms started to grow out of his body. 18 arms grew, each holding a sword. Waves of terrifying sword essence radiated out of him. Kill! 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 Jian Wushuang started his massacre. Every sword light was incredibly wild and powerful. These exotic beasts, who were at the mere level of Emperor God, died instantly when they came into contact with the sword lights. On the other hand, Jian Wushuang continued to swing the 18 swords he was holding in his hands. This meant that at any point in time, 18 sword lights would come out of his sword and attack these beasts. Additionally, there were 7 Hongjun golden swords assisting him. How scary would that be? Dead bodies could be seen falling down towards the ground. Within seconds, the first 10 exotic beasts that had attacked Jian Wushuang were killed. However, behind these exotic beasts, more of them started to pounce towards Jian Wushuang. Ha, bring it on. I want to see how many of you I can kill. Jian Wushuang laughed wildly. He started a killing spree as he made use of his close combat abilities and the 7 Hongjun golden sword. Large numbers of ancient blood beasts were mercilessly killed before they could even put up a fight. Within moments, 2 larger exotic beasts appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang slashed at them casually. The 2 exotic beasts, too, slashed out fiercely. Clang! Clang! Sounds of metallic collisions rang in his ears as he saw the 2 exotic beasts flew back. Jian Wushuang also took a step back. Jian Wushuang looked at the 2 exotic beasts in surprise. They are at the Great Emperor level. Furthermore, there were 7 more ancient blood beasts that looked significantly bigger than the remaining exotic beasts. There are 7 more, which means there are 9 exotic beasts at the power level of Great Emperors. Jian Wushuang was shocked. 9 beasts at the power level of Great Emperor and hundreds of others at the power level of Emperor God surrounded him. This force was very powerful. This force is slightly stronger than even the Special Tribes Alliance. This forbidden ground is really terrifying. Jian Wushuang thought to himself. Luckily, Emperor Bai had sent him to come and scout personally. If it had been any other great emperor, they would probably have died when facing these beasts. It definitely deserved its title of being the most dangerous land in this world. These beasts stopped attacking. What are they planning to do? Jian Wushuang surveyed the area coldly. After the two beasts with power levels of a great emperor were forced back by Jian Wushuang, the remaining beasts stopped in their tracks. They simply stared at Jian Wushuang with great killing intent. Right then, Arwu, the same howl was heard, but this one was much louder, deeper, and more powerful. After the howl, a gigantic figure appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. There is an even stronger being, Jian Wushuang thought as he was finally taking things seriously. Chapter 2160 Emperor Bias. Under the blanket of the blood-red mist, the entire place turned quiet. The ancient blood beasts that surrounded Jian Wushuang couldn't help but lower their heads. Jian Wushuang licked his lips while he stared at this gigantic figure. It was also an exotic beast, but it was much larger than the rest. An ordinary ancient blood beast was only 5 m tall and no longer than 2 m. Those who were at the power level of great emperors were twice the size, but no larger than 3 m tall and 5 m long. However, this gigantic figure was at least 10 m tall and 20 m long. This size was insignificant compared to many exotic beasts or special tribes within the eternal chaotic world. Jian Wushuang was 10 feet tall when he revealed his ancient god body. If he wanted to, he can be over 10,000 feet tall. However, this figure, compared to the other beasts, was definitely a gigantic figure. Looks like this is the Emperor Beast. Jian Wushuang muttered. Any big tribes, especially exotic beast tribes, would have an emperor or their leader. There were so many ancient blood beasts in the Forbidden Ground. The gigantic figure in front of Jian Wushuang should be their leader. The 3-meter-tall ancient blood beast already has the fighting power of a great emperor. I wonder how powerful their emperor is. Jian Wushuang thought to himself as he looked at it coldly. The gigantic figure stared at Jian Wushuang with his blood-red eyes. Suddenly, boom, the air exploded with great pressure as the Emperor Beast disappeared. All that was heard was a supersonic boom. This speed. Jian Wushuang was shocked. The ancient blood beasts were already very fast. The Emperor Beast was even faster. In an instant, the Emperor Beast appeared in front of Jian Wushuang and stretched out his blood-red claw. The blood-red claw turned into red lightning and struck down towards him. The strike looked like it was traveling slowly. In reality, the speed of the claw was so fast that it affected the space-time around it, giving the illusion that it was slow. In reality, it was unbelievably fast. This claw seemed to have the power to destroy a star if it was in the way of it. Jian Wushuang squinted his eyes. The moment this claw moved, he swung his blood mountain sword. The sword essence could be felt clearly as a sword light burst forth instantly. Sword Principal Xian Luo, Blast Rainstorm. This strike had the speed of the wind and force of a rainstorm. Clang! The two collided with each other as a bright light was emitted and lit up the entire sky. Jian Wushuang was absolutely confident in his own ability. He was at the second stage of 7th step in inverse cultivation. He had incredible amounts of divine power, combining that with the bloodline power of a 9-star ancient god and immemorial celestial body. He had terrifying fighting power. Even stage 3 great emperors like Demon King Chenyu, who grasped a little of rules of order, were still slightly weaker than Jian Wushuang, even back in his prime. Jian Wushuang used all his might and cast the strongest sword skill in Sword Principal Xian Luo. If Demon King Chen Yu was the one facing this attack, he would probably be forced back. Now that he was fighting the Emperor Beast, at that moment, boom, an overbearing power surged through his arms and forced its way into his body. This overbearing strength made Jian Wushuang retreat to steady himself. After he steadied himself, he looked at his numb hand, shocked. The power of the claw he had just attacked with was definitely comparable to that of Lord Fen. He had fought Lord Fen before. Lord Fen had strength far greater than him. At that point, he knew that Lord Fen was very close to peak stage 3 Great Emperor. The pressure this Emperor Beast had on him was even greater than Lord Fen. This Emperor Beast not only had comparable strength, but also a much quicker speed than Lord Fen. The exotic beast, which was 10 meters tall, disappeared again. Jian Wushuang's face darkened as he tried to use his soul power to locate the beast. At the same time, the 7 Hongjun golden swords burst forth. Even though Jian Wushuang himself was much slower than the Emperor Beast, it was a completely different story for his 7 swords. The 7 swords turned into beams of golden light as they pierced the space and attacked the Emperor Beast. Right when the sword was about to collide onto the Emperor Beast, it shook weirdly to its left and right. The few shakes looked very casual. However, the 7 swords just passed through it without causing any damage. What? Jian Wushuang could not believe what he had just seen. Obviously, this Emperor Beast was not only fast, but extremely agile. Humph! Jian Wushuang grunted as the 7 Hongjun golden swords turned around and retargeted the Emperor Beast. His divine power boiled as he attacked the Emperor Beast immediately. He started a fierce battle with the beast. It was a brutal fight between man and beast. What was most dangerous about the Emperor Beast was its 2 blood-red claws. They were extremely sharp, and it felt like they could tear apart heaven and earth easily. The speed of the attacks was even faster than Jian Wushuang's fastest sword skill, turned monstrous at one thought. He could not even react with 2 arms. However, he had 18 of them. This close combat ability, together with his 7 Hongjun golden swords, empowered him to fight him head-on. Clang, 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 clang. Metallic collision reverberated on the battlefield as the 2 fought. The surrounding ancient blood beast prone there and looked at the fight in awe. No one dared to step in. This fight belonged to Jian Wushuang and the Emperor Beast. Soon, Jian Wushuang and the Emperor Beast fought for 7.5 minutes. During this time, they crossed blades thousands of times during their crazy battle. Chapter 21, 61 Ancient Blood Tribe. Finally, Jian Wushuang and the Emperor Beast stopped. What a rush! Jian Wushuang's eyes were sparkling brightly, the Emperor Beast having fired him up. Indeed, it was an exhilarating battle for Jian Wushuang. He showed no restraint during the fight, demonstrating his full power. The Emperor Beast was tough as well. Although it had seemed that Jian Wushuang was on par with him during the fight, Jian Wushuang himself knew that he was at a complete disadvantage. That was despite Jian Wushuang having already obtained the authentic Hongjun golden swords, holding the Emperor Beast down. If not for that, Jian Wushuang would have been completely crushed. The Emperor Beast's crimson eyes were dead on Jian Wushuang. The Emperor Beast was furious as Jian Wushuang had killed many of his own people. But after the battle, he knew that he could not stop Jian Wushuang. He could not take down Jian Wushuang. Even if the entire ancient blood tribe had gathered together to resist him, the chances of actually stopping him were slim. Furthermore, he could no longer fight anymore. The ancient blood tribe was an extremely tyrannical tribe indeed. The tribe was extremely powerful in terms of strength, speed, and defense powers. But the tribe had weaknesses. If they had no weaknesses, they would not have been a B-class exotic beast tribe during the ancient era. The ancient blood tribe had one obvious weakness. They had no stamina. Beasts of the ancient blood tribe consumed a tremendous amount of strength whenever they fought. An ordinary ancient blood beast would only last 10 breaths, whereas the formidable ancient blood emperor himself could last no more than an hour. Half an hour had already passed, and he did not have enough strength. Human, the ancient blood emperor spoke. He spoke with a heavy human accent. He talked, but Jian Wushuang was not surprised. The ancient blood emperor's spiritual wisdom would have already been unlocked at that level of fighting power. Perhaps the limitations of being an exotic beast prevented him from taking a human form, but he could definitely speak the human tongue. Human, you slaughter my people. What purpose do you have here? Ancient blood emperor asked coldly. Slaughtering your people? They came for me. I had to make my move. Jian Wushuang replied indifferently. This is my tribe's territory. Of course, we will exterminate all trespassers. The ancient blood emperor's voice was low. According to the agreement between my tribe and you humans, no peak chaotic realm experts are allowed here. If you want to reach the blood emperor's sanctuary grounds, you all need to make a detour. But you are a middle stage chaotic realm expert. Yet even I cannot defeat you. You have broken the agreement between the tribes. Human, you wish to start a war with the ancient blood tribe. Jian Wushuang's gaze shifted. He had learned a lot from the conversation. Firstly, the Crimson Beasts were part of the ancient blood tribe. The ancient blood forbidden grounds belonged to them, and the ancient blood emperor was their leader. Secondly, the ancient blood tribe had reached an agreement with the 3 emperors world humans in the past, where the human great emperors were not allowed inside the tribe's territory. Thirdly, and most importantly, the ancient blood emperor had mentioned a certain blood emperor sanctuary grounds. Blood emperor sanctuary grounds. Jian Wushuang had never heard of it in the 3 emperors' worlds. But now he knew that if he wanted to reach the Blood Emperor Sanctuary grounds, he would need to go through the ancient Blood Tribe territory. Ancient Blood Emperor, I am not aware of the agreement. I did not even know of the existence of your tribe. Of course, I have no intention of starting a war with you. Jian Wushuang smiled. He was speaking the truth. He had indeed never heard of the ancient Blood Tribe before entering their forbidden grounds. If that is the case, please leave now, and never step onto our grounds from this moment onward, the ancient Blood Emperor said. Jian Wushuang had slaughtered many of his people. If he could, the ancient Blood Emperor would not hesitate to kill Jian Wushuang there. Like just now, he had tried to kill Jian Wushuang without a word. But after a vigorous battle, he realized he could not take him down, even if the whole army was gathered there. Naturally, he had to let Jian Wushuang go. You want me to leave? Jian Wushuang touched his nose. No rush. Ancient Blood Emperor, I have a question. Where are this Blood Emperor Sanctuary grounds you speak of? Is it within the ancient Blood Forbidden Grounds? You do not know of the ancient Blood Forbidden Grounds. Ancient Blood Emperor's cold eyes glanced at Jian Wushuang. He was puzzled. In his opinion, Jian Wushuang had to be a leader amongst the human tribes with his strength. Not only should he know about the place, he should be one of the few leaders of the Blood Emperor Sanctuary grounds. But Jian Wushuang did not know about the agreement either. That made the ancient Blood Emperor suspicious of him. I do not know where you come from. You have killed so many of my people, and yet you still want me to answer your questions? Scram! Human! The ancient Blood Emperor shouted. A horrifying aura was building up. The thousands of crimson exotic beasts beside the ancient Blood Emperor had their gaze dead on Jian Wushuang as well. As long as the ancient Blood Emperor ordered it, the beasts would tear Jian Wushuang up without hesitation. Take it easy, no need to be angry. Jian Wushuang smiled. I'm willing to compensate you for the people I slaughtered, but I still hope you will be willing to answer my question. If not what? Ancient Blood Emperor asked coldly. If not, I'll not leave this place. I'll kill 100 of your men every single day. Let's see if you all can withstand that or not. Jian Wushuang smiled cunningly. You dare. The Ancient Blood Emperor immediately became furious. You want to try it out? Jian Wushuang asked. Chapter 2162 Compromise. Jian Wushuang had no grudges against the Ancient Blood Tribe, and naturally he did not want to provoke them. But the Blood Emperor's sanctuary grounds the Ancient Blood Emperor posed great importance to the eternal chaotic world. Jian Wushuang needed to get to the bottom of it. Jian Wushuang had to be more forceful about it. The Ancient Blood Emperor remained quiet. The Ancient Blood Tribe contained thousands of people, each of them comparable to a middle-stage chaotic realm expert. They had 9 peak chaotic realm experts as well, coupling himself, a third-stage expert. The Ancient Blood Emperor's forces were formidable. Still, he had no confidence that he could slay the human in front of him. If the human indeed planned to slaughter his people every day, there would be nothing the tribe could do. The Ancient Blood Emperor could only make a compromise. Human, if I am not wrong, you are not friendly with the people at the Blood Emperor Sanctuary grounds, right? Ancient Blood Emperor asked. Indeed. Jian Wushuang did not deny it. HNGH, you humans do fight a lot, the Ancient Blood Emperor said coldly. I can bring you to the Blood Emperor Sanctuary grounds on the condition that you do not harm anyone in my tribe. Rest assured, as long as they do not initiate the attack, I will not do anything. Jian Wushuang smiled. Follow me. Without saying much, the Ancient Blood Emperor made his way deeper into the Ancient Blood Forbidden Grounds. Jian Wushuang followed. The Ancient Blood Emperor brought Jian Wushuang through miles and miles of forest, and after taking almost the entire day, they finally made it to the deepest part of the Ancient Blood Forbidden Grounds. That's where the Blood Emperor Sanctuary grounds are. Ancient Blood Emperor said. Jian Wushuang looked up to get a good look of the region in front of him. The region was masked by a thick crimson fog. What surprised Jian Wushuang was a thin crimson layer around the surrounding void. Without a doubt, that was a formation. There's a formation here. Could they be here? Jian Wushuang's eyes lit up. Ancient Blood Emperor continued. The Blood Emperor Sanctuary grounds were taken over by you humans a long time ago. Although our territory lies right beside the sanctuary grounds, we have made a pact to never step into your grounds, and vice versa. He could tell that the Blood Emperor Sanctuary grounds were indeed a gathering spot for human experts. There should be a space tunnel linking the Blood Emperor Sanctuary grounds and the outside domains. The 3 Emperor's world experts could access the Ancient Blood Forbidden Grounds without trespassing the Ancient Blood Tribe grounds. As the eternal chaotic world made its move against the 3 Emperor's world experts, the experts had escaped to the Ancient Blood Forbidden Grounds. A hidden space tunnel that led to the Blood Emperor Sanctuary grounds existed near the surrounding void. Jian Wushuang simply was not able to locate it, and instead stumbled his way into the Ancient Blood Tribe's grounds. The Ancient Blood Forbidden Grounds is the 3 Emperor's world's top forbidden grounds. I did not expect their experts to open up sanctuary grounds here. Jian Wushuang could not help but be amazed. He guessed that only the highest ranks and great emperors of the 3 Emperors' world knew about the Blood Emperor Sanctuary grounds. The Sir Gods and Emperor Gods most likely were unaware. Only after the raid on the 3 Emperors' world did their leaders decide to open the Blood Emperor Sanctuary grounds for the experts to hide. Now that I have found their hiding spot, the rest is easy. Jian Wushuang smiled and asked Emperor Jiu Qiao inside his Blood Mountain sword to report to Emperor Bai. The experts were indeed hiding at the ancient blood-forbidden grounds. Emperor Bai was elated after receiving the news. Finally, we found it. Ancestor Tian Chun heaved a sigh of relief. They had been searching frantically throughout the entire Three Emperors world for the remaining experts. At last, they had found it. Since the location had been made known, the next course of action was to send in the army. Jiu Qiao, let Jian Wushuang know that I will bring the eternal chaotic world army over to the ancient blood-forbidden grounds. For before that can be done, he must settle it out with the ancient blood tribe. Emperor Bai glanced at Emperor Jiu Qiao. Understood. Emperor Jiu Qiao nodded. He relayed the message to Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang was in a dilemma. He knew that the eternal chaotic world army needed to go through the ancient blood tribe's territory in order to reach the Blood Emperor sanctuary grounds. But if they ran into some friction with the ancient blood tribe, that was a tribe with a third stage great emperor, 9 first and second stages, and 1,000 emperor gods. Even the eternal chaotic world forces would need to fight their way through. It would not be an easy fight. Ancient Blood Emperor Jian Wushuang looked towards the ancient Blood Emperor with a warm smile on his face. I have a favor. I hope you would be gracious enough to grant me. My people will reach the ancient blood-forbidden grounds soon. They will definitely need to pass by your grounds. So, I hope you will do us a favor and grant us safe passage. Jian Wushuang said. Your people... Looks like another fight's about to break out within the ancient blood-forbidden grounds. Ancient Blood Emperor said coldly. Yes, and it will be ugly, a fight to the death. Certainly, the ancient blood tribe wants nothing to do with the fight. Jian Wushuang smiled. Ancient Blood Emperor thought for a while and nodded. I will grant you a safe passage for your troops towards the Blood Emperor sanctuary grounds. I don't want my people getting involved in this. I will get them to control themselves. My people will not spill any of your people's blood. I dare not promise about the people at the Blood Emperor sanctuary grounds. However, Jian Wushuang said. Ancient Blood Emperor glanced at Jian Wushuang silently. Emperor Jiu Qiao, tell Emperor Bai to bring the forces in, Jian Wushuang instructed.